A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. Since Larry Noble's arrest for the murder of Oliver Wilson, husband of Claudia Vincent, his leading lady, wealthy Rupert Barlow has taken every advantage of the misfortune to make himself indispensable to Mary, with whom he has been secretly infatuated for many months. Right now, we find the wealthy man about town in his New York apartment overlooking Central Park. With him is Victor, his strangely sinister chauffeur. As Rupert looks over the beautifully furnished living room, we hear him saying,
"Pay attention to what I tell you now, Victor, because I won't be able to attend to these matters myself.
Yes, sir.
I want you to see the housekeeper and have her give this place a thorough going over. Mind you, I don't want them to dawdle about it. I want it completely gone over by tomorrow."
Maybe she hasn't got help to get at it that soon, Mr. Barlow.
Never mind making excuses. Just say it's an order.
Yeah, but suppose they give me an argument.
Well, you've answered arguments before since you started working for me.
That was different. You want me to work on the housekeeper with my fists?
Victor, don't always think of ways to get out of doing what I ask.
You know I never try to get out of nothing. You put me in some pretty tough spots in your time, and I always pulled you out. I learned it only works one way.
What do you mean by that?
When I'm in a jam, what happens? You tell me I can get out of it any way I like. It's a big help, that is.
Well, it's your own fault, Victor, for ever getting mixed up in that ridiculous murder of Oliver Wilson. With your record, you should have stayed miles away from the theater the night young Wilson was killed.
I had a score to settle with a guy. I wanted to tell him off. Only right away the police started getting rough about it. They might have landed me in a jug instead of Larry Noble.
But they did arrest the great star himself, so?
If they'd arrested me, you'd have left me there. I know that now. It don't make me feel too good.
Well, I'm not interested in your personal feelings, Victor. Since it's Mr. Noble and not you who's been charged with the murder, there's no reason for you to carry on about it. Just consider yourself lucky you weren't the one. Besides, I had no way of knowing how deeply involved you might have been.
You didn't try very hard to find out, Mr. Barlow, or to get me out of trouble.
Well, if you were guilty, I didn't wish to become involved in trying to prove you innocent.
Yeah, I know. You're a real pal.
I don't want any insolence, Victor. The matter is closed. Now, what I want you to do is to see that this apartment is in perfect shape for visitors to move in.
Why me? Doesn't Miss Julia, your housekeeper and secretary, see about that kind of work? What do I know
I don't want Miss Julia to be bothered about this matter. She has enough to do running the place at Oyster Bay. Now, you have your instructions. And when you finish the housekeeping, see to it that there are fresh flowers in all the rooms. And have the kitchen stocked with whatever is necessary for a woman and a small child.
You mean Mrs. Noble's going to move in here? With her kid?
I haven't said anything of the kind, Victor. You just carry out my instructions and omit your questions. I must leave now, and I don't know just when I'll be back. See to it that you're around if I should need you in a hurry. I believe that's all.
You believe that's all. You got another guess coming, Mr. Rupert Barlow. I say it's only the beginning. Nobody's going to push me around like that and get away with it. Nobody.
And at this same time, Claudia Vincent, the beautiful young leading lady who's been the source of so much trouble in Larry Noble's life, is talking to Larry in a small visiting room in the city jail. Now, as Claudia leans forward to speak feelingly to Larry, we hear...
"I haven't been to see you before, Larry, because, well, I wasn't sure that you'd wish to see me.
What made you think that, Claudia?
Well, somehow I just can't help feeling that I've been the cause of much of your trouble."
Well, the idea has been mentioned, if you want to know. My beautiful leading lady who married Oliver Wilson thought he was rich, became enraged when she learned he wasn't. He's murdered and I'm held for it.
Well, of course, we both know that I had nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, yes, of course.
Well, I don't like the sound of that, Larry. You seem bitter and resentful toward me.
You're wrong, Claudia. I'm bitter towards myself, no one else. I realize now that I was a confounded fool for ever tampering with the play by getting you into the cast.
That hurts, Larry. I didn't expect to hear you turn so against me.
It's not you I'm against, Claudia. I got myself into this monumental mess because I couldn't mind my own business. Let others attend to theirs.
So it all comes back to me. I'm the one who's to blame for it all.
Why are you so anxious to have me reassure you, Claudia? You're not the one who's booked for murder. I'm the one who's been having this lovely vacation with all expenses paid.
Well, I just want to be sure how you feel toward me, Larry. That's all. Oh, I've been so desperately unhappy realizing that it was your knowing me that brought you into all this trouble.
If I'd had sense enough to keep out of things that shouldn't have concerned me, such as your deep desire to further your career as an actress, this wouldn't have ended this way.
So you're sorry that you ever tried to help me. Is that it?
I don't think you are quite as serious about breaking into the theater as you led me to believe, Claudia.
Oh, how can you say that, Larry? Why, it's the most important thing in the world to me. I'm utterly desolate now that the play is closed and my big chance is finished.
You didn't go out of your way to protect your big chance, though, did you, Claudia?
What do you mean?
You ran off and married Oliver Wilson right before you were to open in the play. You didn't bother to let anybody know. You didn't even show up for the last rehearsals. Do you think that's a very good indication that you're terribly keen on a stage career?
So that's it, Larry. You're still trying to find a way to link me with Oliver's murder. You think you can twist the facts about so that they implicate me.
Wait a minute, I didn't say
you
anything...
You think you can distort the truth so that I look guilty of a crime that you committed in a moment of uncontrolled rage because you really wanted me yourself. Well, don't try to wriggle out of this by turning the spotlight on me, Larry. It won't work.
I wasn't trying to put the blame
Well,
on you.
I can read between the lines as well as anyone else. I know what's going on in your mind, how your anger's seething, how you sit here and plan to implicate me because you think that's the only chance you have of getting free. Well, I'm glad I came here today, Larry. I know now what I must do. I'm leaving now, and I don't intend to come back. Oh, guard, I'm ready to go now. Is it all right for me to go this way?
Larry Noble is silent as Claudia Vincent makes her dramatic exit. And suddenly he realizes how completely wrong he was ever to take Claudia Vincent's part, to try to help her on her way to stardom. And now, a short time later, Larry's wife, Mary, is sitting in the same chair that was occupied by Claudia. And Larry is back again in the little visiting room.
I couldn't get here any sooner, Larry, darling, because I was waiting at the house to be picked up.
That's all right. I've had all the company I need for one morning.
Who was here?
Claudia Vincent.
Oh. I wondered how long it would be before she got around to seeing you. I don't suppose she feels the least bit of guilt for having caused all this trouble.
Oh, no. On the contrary, she's very bitter toward me.
She's bitter toward you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd like to know how she arrives at that attitude.
Oh, what's the difference, Mary? I understand now that Claudia Vincent is a thoroughly shallow, self-indulgent woman. If it means anything to you, I'm more than ready to admit that my analysis of Claudia was wrong in every way, and yours was right. I hope that's a source of satisfaction to you. It isn't very agreeable from where I sit.
Darling, I don't want you to start blaming yourself.
I can't very well help it. Do you think?
The important thing is that you did believe in Claudia, and that's why you arranged to get her into your play. She let you down horribly. Now she doesn't want to assume any of the blame. It's like her to turn her back on anyone who's in trouble. Her only consideration now is how she's going to get along. Well, I hope she has as bad a time as she deserves.
You really do feel strongly against her, don't you, Mary?
Yes. Look what she's done to you. Brought you here accused of killing her husband. I hate her. I hate her most of all for being able to make you believe in her.
It seems hard to believe that I forced everyone to accept her. That I was so completely blind that I never guessed that I was being used. You know, Mary, it isn't very nice to face that bit of truth. It's almost worse than facing trial for Oliver Wilson's murder.
I'm sure your trial will be far easier than you thought, Larry.
Why? Seems to me it's getting worse and worse from my standpoint.
Clarence Brewster is going to take charge of your defense.
Oh? When did all this happen, Mary? And how? Or shouldn't I be allowed to ask?
Why, of course you can ask, Larry.
Well, that's nice.
Oh, darling, please don't take that attitude. I only found out this morning myself. Rupert Barlow has been working very hard to get Mr. Brewster, and He didn't agree to take your case until late yesterday. Mr. Brewster will come to see you sometime today. So you see, Larry, it's all going to work out after all.
You think it's going to work out? You mean for me or for Rupert Barlow, who's in love with you?
Larry.
Mary hadn't expected this reaction. She struggled for words to convince Larry that he should accept the help that is offered without worrying about the implications. But be sure to be listening tomorrow to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband Larry Noble, famous Broadway star.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a homicide detail. An old couple suddenly disappear from one of the fashionable neighborhoods in your city. There's no trace of them, not a clue to their whereabouts. Foul play is suspected. Your job, find them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Saturday, September 30th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working a day shift out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Blaine Steed. My name's Friday. It was 3:45 p.m. when I got to room 67A. Missing persons.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. Where's Al?
Next door. He'll be back in a minute.
Oh. There's a phone message for you in the book. It's from your wife.
What is it this time?
She didn't say.
Sure been a bad week.
Oh, what's the matter?
Lucille.
Who?
Our cat.
Again?
Kittens. Had 11 of them by the time I left the house. He was a healthy kid.
Yeah.
Don't know what I'm going to do with him. Hey, your mother likes cats, doesn't she, Joe?
You gave us 2 from the last litter. We still got them. They're as healthy as their mother.
Yeah?
Never pass up a meal.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Al.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Just getting this report straightened out. Here you go.
Mm-hmm. Mr. and Mrs. Walter Apperson.
How long they been missing?
Well, today's the 4th day. They're an elderly couple. One of their next-door neighbors got a little worried when he didn't see him around the house. Came in yesterday and filed a 316 on him.
Let's see. Clarence Stokely. Is that the neighbor?
Yeah. It says here he lived next to the Appersons for 28 years. Never known him to take off like this. Checked Apperson's cottage out there. Dirty dishes on the kitchen table. Not the way an old couple leave a house normally.
How about friends and relatives?
And Stokely called him. None of them have seen or heard from the Appersons for a week. Checked out 2 of their 3 living relatives. Cousin in Eagle Rock, niece in Alhambra. They don't know a thing.
Mm-hmm. Wonder if I can see that, Ben.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Well, how about the third relative? Nephew, is that it, Joe?
Yeah. Frank Apperson. Says here he goes to a private college out near Monrovia.
I haven't been able to contact the kid. He's away on a vacation.
Possibly the old couple might be with him?
Not according to Stokely. Says the Appersons seldom spend any time away from their home.
That's all we've got to go on, huh? Just the neighbor's story?
Yeah. Well, he says he checked the garage, too. The Appersons' car's gone.
How does that tie in?
Well, Mr. Apperson hasn't driven the car for the last year and a half. He has a nephew or some friend drive whenever he wants to go out. One more thing. May mean something, may not.
What's that, Al?
Mrs. Apperson's an invalid.
Yeah?
She hasn't left the neighborhood in 10 years.
4 p.m. Ben and I left the office and drove out to interview the neighbor of the missing couple. After checking at his home, we finally located him at his place of business, a small barber shop at the corner of 54th Street and Maxford Place. The chipped gold lettering on the window read, Jim Dandy Tonsorial Parlor. Smaller lettering in the right-hand corner of the window read, Proprietor Clarence Stokely. Except for a man in a white barber's smock sitting in the first chair, the shop was empty.
How do, gentlemen?
Hi.
How are you? You Clarence Stokely? That's right. Police officers, Mr. Stokely. I'd like to talk to you about the missing persons report you filed yesterday. Oh, yes. Glad to help. You found out anything yet?
You know the Appersons pretty well, do you, Mr. Stokely?
28 years. Sure worried about Walter and Kate. Never known them to do anything like this. Say, I couldn't be of service to you, could I? I just had a haircut a few days ago. How about you, Joe? Looks like you could stand a trim. We could talk it over while I cut your hair. Don't think we'd be disturbed. Face to look well.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Here, I'll take your coat.
Oh, thank you.
First chair there.
You bet.
Mr. and Mrs. Apperson didn't mention anything about going away on a trip, did they? Not a word. That's what makes it so strange. Now, let me fix this around your neck here.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Play cards with them twice a week, usually. Katie Apperson's a fine whist player. Want me to take some off the sides here, officer?
Yeah, please. Not too much, though. When did you first notice the Appersons weren't home?
Tuesday night. We thought we might go over and play some cards.
I see.
Is that enough off right here, officer?
Let me see. Yeah, that's fine. How is it you waited until yesterday to report the Appersons missing?
Wife and I are great friends of Walt and Katie's, but it's certainly none of our business if they want to go off for a few days.
Uh-huh.
Besides, we thought if anything was wrong, Buzz would have said something. Who is Buzz? Anderson's nephew, Buzz. Name's Frank, but every calls him Buzz.
I thought he was away at school, a place out near Monrovia.
Yeah, Stanley College, private school. But he only stays there part of the time. He's usually home early in the week. Well, we were under the impression that this nephew, Buzz, was on a vacation. That's so. That's the first I've heard. If only Walt and Katie would have told us. Oop, that pull?
No, it's all right.
Skipper's little dog. Head down.
You think the nephew might account for the Appersons' car being missing? You think he might have taken it on his vacation?
Possible, I guess, but I think Walt would have mentioned it. That car was old, but he was particular about it. Maybe fit it out on top here a little?
All right, fine. Do you know the nephew at all?
Pretty well. Nice young fellow.
He got along with his aunt and uncle all right, did he?
Yes, indeed. Buzz loved them both.
Do you have any idea where the Appersons might be, Mr. Stokely?
No, I don't. Neither does my wife. That's why we called you people. We don't mean to be Badinsky's, but we're worried. Maybe just a little more off the top, officer?
No, I think it's fine. It's okay. You have no idea where we might find the nephew, Buzz?
Not if he's away on vacation. Might check with the school. Buzz might have gone off with a couple of his friends. A little something to dampen that down?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, that porch light of theirs been burning for 3 nights and 3 days. It really kicks up the old electric bill.
Maybe the Appersons may have overlooked it.
Maybe. All right, sir. Yeah, it's a good-looking haircut if I say so myself.
Yeah. It's fine. Oh, here you go.
Thank you.
Oh, here's our card, Mr. Stokely. We'll be checking with you.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I borrow your comb? Barbara never combs your hair right.
That's not going to help you.
Huh?
It's the way he cut it.
What do you mean?
He put the part on the other side.
After we left Clarence Stokely's barber shop, we drove out to the Apperson home on 54th Street, just below Seaboard Avenue. We checked the house from top to bottom. The closets and the bedrooms were well stocked with clothes. None of the luggage seemed to be missing. In the basement, back on one of the cupboard shelves, we found a bottle of cyanide. It was half filled. In the kitchen, we found dirty dishes still lying on the table. We put in a call to Ray Pinker at the crime lab, and he came out and took sample scrapings from each of the 3 plates and specimens from each of the half-filled cups of coffee on the table. He also took along a bottle of cyanide to examine it for fingerprints. Ben and I called the record bureau just as a matter of routine and asked for any make and warrants on the nephew, Frank Buzz Apperson. R&I called back with the information that Frank Apperson had been arrested for grand theft auto 6 weeks before. His trial was pending. We checked back with the barber, Clarence Stokely. He knew nothing about the trouble. The next morning, Sunday, with the help of school authorities at Stanley College near Monrovia, we got in touch with the parents of 2 of Buzz Apperson's friends. They told us, as far as they knew, Apperson was on a camping trip with their sons. They were expected back in the next day around noontime. From one of the boarding students at Stanley College, we got the name of Buzz Apperson's girlfriend, a Miss Norma Louise Bernard. She lived in San Marino. Sunday night, we drove out to interview her.
I don't know what I can tell you, Sergeant. Buzzy's on a camping trip with 2 of the fellows from school. That's all I know.
When did he leave? Do you know, Miss Bernard?
Last Monday morning. They left from school, said they'd be gone for a week. They're coming back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. You know Buzz Apperson pretty well?
Yes, I do, as well as anyone, I guess.
What is he, just a casual date?
Oh, Buzzy and I have been going steady for almost a year now.
I see.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
Have you ever met the Appersons, his aunt and his uncle?
Just once. They're awfully sweet.
How did Buzz get along with him, do you know?
Well, fine, I guess. The only argument Buzz ever told me about was a month ago. He wanted more allowance, and his uncle said no.
Was Buzz ever in any trouble, to your knowledge, Miss Bernard?
I don't think I know what you mean. What kind of trouble?
Well, I mean, was he ever in any trouble at the college or with the law in any way?
Oh, you mean that car Buzz took about 2 months ago?
Yeah.
We were supposed to go to this school dance, and Buzz didn't have a car. I guess he was ashamed. He said he knew the fellow he borrowed the car from, but the day after the dance, the cops came.
How did his uncle react to that?
Well, there was a terrible row, Buzz said. I really shouldn't be telling you. Bud made me promise.
How were feelings between the boy and his uncle before he left on the trip? Did he mention anything to you about that?
Well, we had a date last Sunday night. I asked him how things were at home. He didn't seem to want to talk about it.
The last time you saw him was Monday morning. Is that right?
Yes, just before he left on the camping trip.
Well, you're sure he went on that trip?
Well, of course I'm sure.
How do you mean?
He said, no matter who asked you, I went on a camping trip. He said it a couple of times.
Did he offer any explanation?
No, but I knew everything was all right.
Oh, is that so? How?
I could tell. The way he kissed me.
The next morning, Monday, Ben and I checked with missing persons. There was no additional information on the missing couple. We phoned the barber, Clarence Stokely. He had seen or heard nothing further of Mr. and Mrs. Apperson. We went down to the bank where the Appersons had their account. And with the help of the manager, we found that 3 checks had been passed on the Apperson checking account since the previous Wednesday, a full day after the missing couple had been last seen. 1 check was for $100 and 2 for $50 each. All of them had been cashed in Los Angeles and all bore the signature Walter Apperson. After examination, it was found each signature had been carefully forged. 10:45 a.m. We went back to the office.
Hi, you two. Going someplace?
Oh, hi, Ray. No, just coming.
You finished checking that stuff through the crime lab?
Yeah. I was passing over this way. I thought I'd drop off the report for you. Got it right here.
How'd it go?
Fingerprints on that bottle of cyanide. Latent prints got to make. Here's the name on it.
Frank Buzz Apperson.
Uh-huh. You look over those dirty dishes we found in the Apperson house?
Checked them through. Nothing.
How about the samples you took from those cups?
Whoever drank that coffee's in trouble. It's loaded.
Yeah?
Enough cyanide to kill a horse.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to this case history recorded by a typical Fatima smoker.
Hi there. My name is Bab Beckwith. Bab, that's short for Bethany Ann Beckwith. I live in New York City, and I'm a fashion stylist. The other day, at a showing of the new fall styles, I ran out of cigarettes. A friend of mine, a designer, introduced me to the new long Fatima. I really wish someone had told me about them sooner. Fatimas are a lot milder than the cigarettes I've been smoking, and they have a delightful flavor, too. I'm very glad to recommend them to you, because I know from experience it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatimas.
And more smokers every day are finding that out. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, 1 p.m. We obtained a specimen of Frank Buzz Apperson's signature, and we had Don Myers in handwriting check it out against the signatures on the 3 checks. Both styles of handwriting matched in every detail. At 1:30 p.m., the parents of Buzz Apperson's 2 friends called to tell us that their sons were back from their camping trip. We checked the Apperson home. The nephew wasn't there. We drove out to see his 2 friends. Under questioning, one of them finally broke and admitted that Buzz Apperson had not gone with them on the camping trip. In the process of questioning the boys, one of them told us that he had been with the suspect 2 days before the trip when he purchased some medicine at the campus drugstore. We went to the drugstore and checked the prescription book. It showed Frank Buzz Apperson had purchased and signed for a bottle of cyanide 2 days before the disappearance of his aunt and uncle. Ben and I drove back to the Apperson house. When we arrived, the officers on stakeout had the boy in custody.
No, I'm sorry, officers. I wish I could help you out, but, well, maybe it's not as bad as you think.
When did you last see your aunt and uncle?
Monday, before I left on the camping trip.
They're in the habit of going off like this, are they?
Oh, sure. Aunt Kate and Uncle Walter have friends all over. They go on trips all the time.
Is that so? How do they get there?
They drive, both of them. They've been driving for years.
You talked to your uncle's friend, this Mr. Stokely next door. He says your aunt and uncle haven't been driving for at least a year and a half.
Stokely, the barber? He's one of the neighborhood cranks, Sergeant. Anybody around here can tell you that. Minds everybody's business but his own.
You don't seem too worried about your aunt and uncle. Think they're all right?
Well, we'd have heard by now if they weren't, don't you think, sir? They probably took off on a trip. That's just about the size of it, I think.
And how about this trip of yours?
Sir?
Well, this camping trip that you just come from.
Oh, a couple of fellows from school. We went camping up by Big Bear for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good fishing for September. Ever been up there?
Yeah, have you?
Well, sure. I just said that's where we've been camping. Say, I'm a little thirsty. There's a couple bottles of ale in the refrigerator. Care for a bottle?
No, not right now. Thanks.
Well, would you mind if I had one? Sure could use it.
No, you go right ahead. We can talk in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Place is in kind of a mess. I guess I'll have to go in and clean it up.
Is your aunt usually leave in a hurry like this?
Not usually, no. Dishes all over the place. She probably figured she'd wait till she got back to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Kate does things like that once in a while.
That's so?
Yeah, she's like that sometimes. Well, happy days.
Yeah. Okay, Buzz, you want to tell us? Where are they? Your aunt and uncle, what happened?
Say, I don't think I know what you're talking about. What's the trouble?
Come on, Buzz. You know what the trouble is. Let's have a straight story. It's going to save a lot of time.
Sir?
We can draw it out as long as you like. It'll be a lot easier if you cooperate.
Look, I don't know what you're thinking, Sergeant, but whatever it is, I don't understand you. What are you getting at?
Something's happened to your aunt and uncle. We're pretty sure you know what it is.
Well, how could I? I've been away on this camping trip.
You've been away, but not on a camping trip.
Sir?
We've checked you out from the day you came to live with your aunt and uncle, Buzz. You're going to make us spell out the whole record for you?
But I've been away. I just got back. I don't know what's happened.
We found a bottle of cyanide in the basement cupboard. Your fingerprints are all over it.
Well, sure, that figures. We use it for bug poison in the garden. I take care of the garden. I use it all the time.
You use it in coffee?
Sir?
The police chemist checked what was left in 2 of the cups that were on that table there. Cyanide in both of them, enough to kill 6 people. Now, look, boy, we've talked to your neighbors, your teachers, your girlfriend Norma, and those 2 pals you were supposed to go camping with. Now, we can drag all of them out if we have to. They're going to make a liar out of you.
Sir?
I think you got it the first time.
Well, there couldn't be any cyanide in those cups. Why should there be?
We think you can tell us that.
But I can't. I don't know anything about this. I haven't any idea what you're talking about. Is this some kind of a gag?
You know better than that.
How about those checks, Buzz?
Sir?
The ones you forged your uncle's signature on. You need the money that bad?
I didn't forge any checks. I was away on a camping trip. Dave and Willie were with me. They can tell you.
You got in a row with your uncle. Maybe about that stolen car. Is that how it happened?
It had nothing to do with it. I want to see Norma. I want to talk to Dave and Willie. They'll tell you.
How about the man at the campus drugstore?
Sir?
When you bought the cyanide from, you want to talk to him, too?
Look, are you two fellas kidding me? This must be some kind of a gag, is it?
Your aunt and uncle are missing. There's evidence of foul play. Now, does that sound like a joke?
Well, how should I know where they are? I wasn't there. I want to talk to Norma. I want to see Dave and Willie. They'll tell you. Why don't we drive over and see him now?
It's all right with us. Want to get your coat?
Sure. Norma's the girl I'm engaged to. Dave and Willie are my best friends. They know everything about me. A couple of real nice guys.
Think so?
Sure.
Well, let's go, babe.
Yeah. Dave and Willie have been all through school with me. They can vouch for me.
Yeah?
Sure. You can take their word, too.
We will. 5:50 p.m. We left the Apperson house, drove across town, and headed over the Arroyo Seco toward the home of the suspect's friend, Dave Killefer. 6:33 p.m. We took a right turn off the freeway, headed south for another mile, and finally pulled up in front of the Killefer home. Buzz Apperson's friend, Dave, met us at the front door.
What's it all about, anyway, Buzz? What's the pitch?
Well, that's what I want to know. Look, is this some kind of a gag you guys cooked up on me?
We were on the trip, Buzz. I don't know anything about any gag. What's all this about your aunt and uncle?
I don't know. That's what these officers want to find out.
I'd like to have you tell us again, Dave. Was Buzz here with you on that camping trip?
Sure, that's why we came over. Now, tell him about it, you know.
All right, let's have it, Dave. Was he with you on that trip?
These officers aren't kidding, Buzz. They want the truth.
Well, tell him I was with you and Willie. We went to Big Bear.
We're looking for your aunt and uncle. I'm not going to lie now. You didn't go to Big Bear with us.
All right, Dave, thanks.
Well, he's lying, officers. Who put you up to this stunt, Dave? They'll throw you in the jug for a gag like this. Who's behind it?
You're the guy who said it was a gag. You told us to tell everybody you were up at Big Bear with Willie and me. How about leveling? What's it about?
He's lying.
What's it about? You've got nothing to hide. Have you?
He's lying. You can tell that, can't you? Let's go talk to Willie. He'll tell you the truth.
Joe?
All right. Thank you, Dave. That's all.
All right, Sergeant. Sure there isn't anything I can do?
No, thanks. Just the same. Good night.
Okay. Good night.
Anybody could tell he was lying. Isn't that right, Sergeant?
Well, he's your friend, Buzz. Why do you say that?
Well, he was just plain lying, that's all. Couldn't you tell?
No, I couldn't. How about you, Ben?
Not me. Why would he lie, Buzz? You told us he was your pal.
Some kind of a stupid gag they're pulling. The gang in the fraternity I belong to, Dave's one of them. They've done it before. I don't know why they're lying, but they are.
Where's your friend Willie live?
Sir?
You said you wanted to drive over and have us talk to Willie?
Oh, yeah.
Well, where does he live?
Look, would you mind very much?
How's that?
I got a terrible headache. Would you mind very much just driving around a while? I'd like to clear my head a little. I can't figure this thing out.
All right. Why don't you roll down the window there, Buzz?
Okay.
Yeah. Air feels good. Sure is hot out tonight.
Yeah,
Been a pretty long summer, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
Say, I guess maybe we ought to forget about going over to Willie's place. He strings along with the rest. He'd probably lie, too.
You said you wanted us to have a talk with him.
Yeah, but I've been thinking about it. He'd only lie. It'd be better if we drove over to see Norma. That's the girl I'm engaged to.
Yeah, that's what we understand.
If anybody can give you a straight story, Norma can. She doesn't live far. Straight down the road here into San Marino.
Yeah, we know.
Oh. Sure would appreciate it if you'd drive over there.
Okay.
Norma can straighten this thing out. Swell girl. We're going to get married as soon as we can.
Oh?
Yeah. She saw me leave on that trip to Big Bear. She won't lie to you. Sure wish my aunt and uncle had left a note where they were going. All this trouble.
You mind if I lay out a couple of things for you, Buzz?
Now, what do you mean?
When a police officer picks somebody up, he's got a good reason for it.
Yeah, but Dave was lying, Sergeant. You know that.
It's a lot more than what Dave had to say. Now, you've done something wrong. We don't know what exactly, but we've got an idea, and we're going to find out.
You can't prove anything. I got that cyanide for the garden. We used it around the house for different things.
You don't use it in coffee cups. What happened, boy? Where's your aunt and uncle?
Next turn for Norma's house, up by the signal. Turn left.
Yeah. Come on, Buzz. You know what happened. You're going to have to face it sooner or later. If it's not tonight, then tomorrow morning or tomorrow night or the night after.
But I don't know what happened.
The facts say you do, and they're not going to disappear. Now, you made the problem. It's going to stick out in front of you till you find an answer. How about it?
Norma will know what to do. Wait till I talk to Norma.
Why don't you stand up and face it, boy? Getting your girl mixed up in this isn't going to help.
She'll know what to do.
Can she find your aunt and uncle? Can she? How about the 3 checks? How about them? Can she explain those signatures that you forged? Maybe those fingerprints on the cyanide bottle. Can she help you out there? Oh, look, Buzz, I believe you. You love the girl. Do you want her mixed up in all this?
We are, Joe.
Okay. That's the right house, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's Norma's house.
All right, what's it going to be? Do we go in?
She'd cry. She'd only cry. Norma thinks a lot of me.
Yeah?
She's a swell girl. I don't want to have to tell her. She'd only cry.
Yeah.
I killed my aunt and uncle.
8 p.m. Buzz Apperson directed us to drive to San Pedro to the west basin of the Los Angeles harbor. We got out of the car and followed him to the end of one of the piers. He told us his story, and we put in a call to the office. Within half an hour, a fireboat and a barge were on the scene, and a diver was sent down into the water a few yards from the edge of the pier. We stood by and watched. Buzz Apperson, Ben, and I.
I put quite a bit of cyanide in the coffee. I had to be sure.
How'd you manage to get both of them in the car?
I waited till way after dark, and then I dragged them out. Drove down to the end of the pier right here. Put the car in low. It went over, right where the diver went down, just this end of the barge.
All right. There are those lines up there. There's the first one.
You better stand back here.
Yeah. Watch it.
Okay, sir.
Let's go. Buzz?
Yeah. My aunt.
Only one thing missing, Buzz.
Sir?
A reason. Why'd you do it?
I'm not sure anymore. Stolen car trouble, I guess. My trial was coming up. All that trouble. I didn't want my aunt and uncle to go through all that.
You mean that's why you killed him?
I think so. I didn't want them to be ashamed of me. That must sound funny.
Nobody's going to believe you.
Suppose I don't.
Yeah.
Will it make any difference?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 15th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 92, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. To successfully prosecute a criminal suspect, the working detective gathers all available physical evidence. And in the crime lab, this evidence is carefully selected and screened to determine its worth. So with a cigarette. The makers of Fatima select and buy the finest tobaccos, both Turkish and domestic. And then these tobaccos are skillfully blended to make Fatima extra mild. Best of all, long cigarettes. Pack after pack, they're extra mild. Now, if you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima.
Frank Buzz Apperson was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree and sentenced to life imprisonment. He is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. Coming up, Duffy's Tavern. Be sure to hear Theater Guild Sunday on NBC.
My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, International Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Wednesday at 9, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's story of The Lady from Brazil.
Her name was Irene Santino. The lady from Brazil, the Lion called her. He figured it for an easy trace job. Something for missing persons, only when we do them, the Lion gets paid. Yeah. The program said it was simple. Except before we wound it up, there were a couple of added attractions. A doctor who didn't do any doctoring, a nurse with a built-in temperature, and a couple of blackouts that were meant to be permanent. And guess what? In that last part, I was supposed to be the star. Anyhow, it all began late last Monday. I was home. My boss, Anthony J. Lyon, knocked on my door. And that's when I made my first mistake. I let him in.
Regan, I'm glad I found you in. I'm just on my way home from the office.
You could have kept on going. I'm out of Johnny Walker.
Oh, now, Regan, I didn't come by just for that. You got anything else?
No.
All right. As a matter of fact, I want your advice, Regan.
Cut out starches and get some exercise. What else?
What would you do if you traveled 10,000 miles just to see your sister and then couldn't find her?
I'd give up the search.
You would? Why?
I haven't got a sister.
Oh, that's not what I'm talking about. You'd go to missing persons, wouldn't you? Sure you would. But if you knew your family in a foreign country would become greatly alarmed at this sort of notoriety, you'd look for your sister in another way. You'd hire a good private detective. Now, isn't that right?
Come on, Fatso, put it on the road.
What do you mean? I'm just posing a simple problem.
And you've got an angle somewhere.
All right, we have a new client. Her name's Irene Santino. She's from Brazil, Rio. Fine family, Regan. Coffee. She's engaged international to locate her younger sister, Carmen.
I'm no St. Bernard.
You'll do till I can feed one. Oh, now, I know you've been working hard lately, but, Regan, this is one of those occasions when I'm proud to be a part of our profession. We have an opportunity to help a young lady in desperate straits and at the same time secure goodwill from South America.
Ever hear of the State Department?
Of course I have, but they can't do it all alone. It's up to individual citizens to take responsibility, too.
And that's the only reason you want me to find a sister?
Absolutely. Now, Miss Santino is taking an apartment at this address. Here, go see her, comfort her, let her know International and the United States of America will do everything possible to locate her lost sister.
Yeah. That all?
That's enough.
What'd she pay you?
$200.
That's a lot of green to get in advance.
Well, she insisted. She's very anxious to find that girl.
Watch out her check doesn't bounce.
It won't. She paid cash.
That $200 was already making a lump in the Lion's coat. And I knew the next spot for it was his mattress. Well, maybe that's the reason he's a bachelor. I left him in my place and drove over to the address he'd given me. It was one of those Beverly Hills apartments with a long, glassy look. Like a greyhound with a sore stomach. Irene Santino's apartment was on the second floor. She was a tall, brown-haired girl without a smile. She wore glasses. And when she talked, she sounded sad. Like a banjo player with a paper pick.
Thank you so much for coming over, Mr. Regan. I've been very upset all day. I just had to do something about Carmen.
Your sister?
Yes. She's the one I came to California to see.
Oh, I heard.
It's an awful vacant feeling. I thought she'd meet me at the airport, and then she wasn't there. And when I went to her address, we were very close.
She's from Rio, too?
Yes.
How's her English?
Well, the same as mine. We were both educated in the United States.
You older than Carmen?
Yes, 2 years. She's 25 now. Carmen left home a year ago. She's always been very independent. And, I received this letter from her a few days ago. It was the first word since she left home.
It came this way?
Yes.
No envelope?
Oh, I threw that away. She wrote her address there at the end, and I didn't see any need for keeping the envelope.
And she wasn't at this address?
There isn't any such address.
What does Carmen look like?
Well, I gave her a snapshot to Mr. Lyon. Didn't he give it to you?
He forgets things.
Well, no matter. I have another. Of course, it's old and not very good. I think it's right here in the suitcase. You'll pardon things strewn all over. I haven't had time. Oh, here. Here. There you are.
See. She's blonde?
A little lighter than mine. The same height, too. We used to wear each other's clothes. Oh, Mr. Regan, you will be able to find her, won't you?
I don't think you want me to.
Mr. Regan, are you trying to be funny?
You hand me a snapshot so old it could be anybody, and a letter that says nothing, and you want me to turn up a blonde.
But I thought those would be leads. She mentions the name of her doctor.
Is he the man?
Man?
She left home a year ago. She wasn't following the crops. There was a man in it. I've got to have it all, lady.
All right, all right. There was a man. His name was Frank Martin. Carla met him once in Mexico City. She thought she was in love with him. He lives out on Laurel Avenue.
You talked to him?
No. But I asked questions around. I'm completely satisfied he knows nothing about it. Perhaps if you'd see the doctor, my sister mentioned...
You want me to find your sister?
Yes?
But you don't want me to see this Frank Martin.
I didn't say that.
You didn't have to, lady. Okay. You'll get a report when I've got something. Oh, just one more thing.
What's that?
How long did you stop off on the way to shop in New York?
Why? What makes you think I'd do that?
When you leave your clothes strewn around the label show. There's no Saks Fifth Avenue in Rio. When I walked out, her mouth was wide open like she was trying to scream. Only nothing came out. I hung around outside the door for a minute to see if she'd use the phone, but nothing happened. I looked up Frank Martin in the city directory and drove over to Laurel. A 2-story apartment building the color of a bride's blush. It was wrapped around a swimming pool. Too small for people and too big for birds. Martin's name wasn't on the mailbox, so I looked up the manager.
You don't know me, do you, Pilgrim?
Well, I just got here.
I played the Pals in 26. Oh, them were the days.
Write it up and sell it to the movies.
Them slobs. Central Casting ain't called me in 4 years.
Got a card?
Afros, SAG, and the Musicians Union. I play French horn. None of them call me. I figure it's television. No union yet.
I'm looking for a man named Frank Martin.
Now, look, if you got trouble, stay away from Frank. He bruises easy.
And you're just a mother, too.
He's a nice laddie. Now, remember what I tell you.
Sure, sure.
All right. Come on. I'll show you.
Thanks.
That's him. Up there.
He stays in one key.
All the time. A low one.
You said that once.
Well, here we are. You know, I kind of like you. You get around. Ever run into Mervyn Leroy?
Not yet.
If you do, mention my name, will you?
Sure. What is it?
Just say that Trixie Finnegan was asking for him. He'll remember old Trixie.
How could he forget?
You're not a whooping, you know.
Come on in. It's unlocked.
Your name Frank Martin?
Yeah, who wants to know?
My name's Regan. I'm a private investigator with the International Detective Bureau.
Wrong steer, Gumshoe. I don't need one.
I'm not looking for work. I'm looking for you.
What'd you say it was? Regan?
Yeah.
R-E-G-A-N? Regan. Regan. Just wrote that one. Pretty cute, eh?
I'm looking for a friend of yours, Carmen Santino.
Oh. How is Carmen these days?
I don't know.
But you said you were a detective.
I did.
You sound like an amateur to me.
You sound like a guy with a chip on his shoulder.
You sound like a lot of things. You're trying to get tough, baby.
It figures out when your name isn't on the mailbox.
Yeah?
Nobody would ever write you.
I'll just skip that, Regan. Well, who hired you to do what?
My sister's in town. She's looking for Carmen.
Didn't know Carmen had a sister. What else?
You're the boyfriend.
Boyfriend. It's real good. Let me tell you what she's like, Regan. Eyes just right. Hair just right. Everything just right. Wait till you see her in a bathing suit. That's something, brother.
She isn't wearing one in this picture.
Let's see. No, it's a bad picture, Regan. Hardly looks like her like she is. Ever met him like that? Well, we're going to be married, Regan. Only she decided all of a sudden she didn't want to. Just like that. It was her idea. Haven't seen her since.
You try?
Once. She moved. No forwarding address. That's all.
Makes a good story.
Yeah, but you don't believe it. Let me tell you the reason we broke up. It's a dilly.
My hearing's good.
Well, you've heard about the happy couple. The
The guy keeps getting loaded, can't lay off. But this is different. This is the big switch.
Carmen.
Yeah, Carmen.
And why she was seeing a doctor?
Carmen, seeing a doctor? Look, why don't you get out of here? We don't like each other.
Sister thinks something might have happened to Carmen. She's scared.
Yeah, some of us are scared part of the time. When somebody makes a lot of noise looking for somebody, then everybody gets scared. You scared, Regan?
Yeah.
What about?
Carmen Santino. I might be looking too late. Well, what he gave me filled in the cast, but the plot wasn't getting any clearer. So I looked up the doctor Carmen had mentioned in her letter. His name was Kingston, and the only address was a place out in Encino. It was a ranch house spilled all over the top of the hill like whipped cream. Figured he was getting oversealing for his pills. I parked my car by the gate, followed the flagstones up to the front door. When I pressed a button, I heard something that sounded like chamber music. And then a blonde girl wearing a red dress that must have been riveted on opened the door about the middle of the second chorus.
I like blue serge. Has an effect on me.
It's the only thing in the closet.
You fill it out nice. But you don't look sick.
I want to see the doctor anyway.
Come on in. We'll talk about it. You are tall, Mr.
Regan.
Regan.
Who are you, Florence Nightingale?
I hold the doctor's stethoscope. My name's Vivian Lytell.
Mind telling him I'm here?
He's busy. He just opened another bottle.
Well, I'm right on time.
Oh, Rex isn't sociable like me. He drinks alone. He gets more that way. Let me entertain you.
Easy, Angel. I don't know how to fix a fracture.
I've already got a man who can do that. I want one with brains.
What's the matter with the doctor?
Keeps his in a bottle. Hasn't used them for a long time now.
He's done all right.
This? He'd be selling papers if his wife hadn't left him a good insurance policy.
Don't you like his money?
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's just that the girl has feelings, too.
Yeah, they show.
I'm glad I met you. We're going to have some nice afternoons.
I thought you worked for a living.
Got lots of free time. Besides, I should have at least one outside interest.
Keep looking. You'll find one.
You smile good, but you talk nasty.
I only came to see Kingston.
Well, there's always a phone. Call and make an appointment. Now, get out.
Oh, Vivian, about... Oh, I didn't know you had company. I'll talk to you another time.
Just a minute, Doctor. This is Mr. Regan.
Huh?
He's your company, but he doesn't have a business card.
Oh. Look, Mr. Regan, I'm no longer in practice, just doing research on my own. I have all the medical equipment I can use. I turned all my patients over to another doctor.
I know one you forgot.
Well, tell me who.
Carmen Santino.
Carmen.
Go ahead, Vivian. I'll speak to Mr. Regan.
Watch yourself, Rex. He doesn't know how to be nice.
Will it take a minute?
I'll crack some ice. You'll need a drink.
She's a very fine nurse.
Yeah. It's a nice uniform.
Well, working on my own, very casual. You said I had a patient named Carmen... What was it?
Carmen Santino.
I'm afraid you're mistaken, Mr. Regan. Who told you that?
Well, I read about you in a letter.
That must have been another Kingston.
There's only one with a license.
You're a relative of the girl's?
Friend.
You're a detective, aren't you?
Yeah. Want to show me your files someday?
Why not today? This way, I keep them right here in my lab. Help yourself, Mr. Regan. Oh, you want a drink?
Too early.
You don't mind if I have one?
Your house.
Didn't find anything?
Not under Santino. She could have used another name.
Oh, that's possible. When was I supposed to have treated her?
Oh, about a year ago, according to this letter. Here, this is a picture.
No. Oh. I've never treated anyone who looks like that.
Sure.
Positive. What was their illness?
Might have had something to do with that stuff you're drinking. They die from it sometimes.
I see. You can't see it from this window. But just over the hill, my wife is buried. I had special permission from the county, of course, bury her on my property. She was a great comfort to me. We were very close. I haven't been the same since she passed away. And that is why I am no longer in practice.
I didn't ask for that.
Oh, but you did. with your eyes. You're a strange man. Do you enjoy making a living this way, prying into other people's lives, searching for what is best left alone?
You still here, Rex?
Yes, Vivi. He's just leaving. You didn't find your way?
Well,
Yeah.
bye, Blue Surge. You were a real disappointment.
Don't give up. I'll be back.
Don't bother, Regan. The doctor will be out.
The whole thing looked phony, like a fan dancer in long underwear. But when I left the two of them, I was beginning to get an idea, just beginning. I walked over the side of the hill to look at that grave. It was there, all right, like he said. Irene Kingston, 1922, 1948. Well, maybe that explained it. Maybe it didn't. I was remembering those New York labels I'd seen on my clients' clothes. I called up a friend of mine in the CAA. He checked into it and told me nobody named Santino had come in from Rio on any flight in the last week. And the immigration people didn't have a passport or visa record on her either. I was home thinking about all this when my phone began ringing. It was Irene Santino, and she did all the talking.
I tried to get you at your office, Mr. Regan, but no one answered. I had to speak to you.
What about?
I phoned Carmen.
Say that again.
I phoned Carmen. Or rather, Carmen found me. I feel foolish now, calling you people in and all that. She came right to my apartment. Can you imagine she's been looking for me? Please thank Mr. Lyon for his kindness. And, Mr. Regan.
Yeah?
It's all confidential. I wouldn't want any of this to get to the wrong people.
You know some of the wrong kind?
Doesn't everyone? Well, goodbye.
Oh, Regan, you run any expenses on this Santino thing?
No.
Good. It's all over.
How do you know? She just phoned me.
Just came from missing persons. There's a cop there named Perini. Got an eye like an eagle. Had that other picture of the Santino dame with me. He took one look at it and opened up a file.
What kind of file?
Dead and unclaimed.
What do you mean?
The county buried her. Carmen Santino's been dead a year.
This is CBS, and you are listening to The Story of the Lady from Brazil, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, it figured somebody was having nightmares. I didn't say anything to the Lion and went down to the Hall of Records. There was a little guy sitting at the desk in Vital Statistics. His fingernails were dirty, and that wasn't a Harry Drucker haircut he was wearing. He was reading a dictionary, and he must have been at a good part, because he looked mad when I nudged him.
No, we're not in a bus, buddy, so just quit shoving.
I want some information.
Public servant, that's what I'm here for. What kind of information
Death
do you want?
files.
You're such a morbid guy. Got lots of stuff on births and marriages. Why don't you ask me something about them?
Girl named Carmen Santino died about a year ago. Tell me what from.
Okay, take it easy. How do you spell it?
Just like it sounds.
Santino, huh? Yeah, Santino. What's this? Sabatini, Sailor, Senaki, Sanford. That's what happened to old Sandy. No wonder I ain't seen him around lately.
Just a Santino.
Oh, yes, Santino, yeah. Yes. Santino. Date of death, 15 October, 1948. Cause of death?
Alcoholic poisoning.
Yeah, that's right. How'd you get it?
Never mind. Who signed the certificate?
Rex J. Kingston, M.D.
Okay. Now, here's one more for you. Look up Irene Kingston.
The doc's wife?
Look it up.
Okay, yes. Let's see. Kingsley. Oh, here. Kingston, Irene, 13 October, 1948.
Cause of death?
You guessed it again. The same. Alcoholic poisoning. Hey, this guy couldn't keep a patient.
Well, that filled it in. I could see the plot, but I wasn't sure of the ending. So I didn't waste any time getting over to Irene Santino's place. But I wasn't fast enough. The door was halfway open when I got there. All the company had left, but Irene was still around. She was sitting there looking at the phone like it was all she had to think about.
Miss Reed.
What's so funny?
Excuse me for not getting up, but I didn't expect you. told you I found my sister, didn't I?
You told me, but you didn't tell me she was dead.
I didn't even tell you that I haven't got a sister. Did I? Did I?
Come on, lady. Give it to me. What are you talking about?
This little red spot on my arm. It doesn't look like much. But you just wait, Mr. Regan. You just wait. You just wait.
I found a doctor on the floor below. He grabbed his black bag and went to work on her. She quieted down to a slow, inside giggle. Then went out all the way. The doctor got a hold of an ambulance and carted her off to a hospital. They just wheeled her out the door when the Lion showed up.
Regan, did I see an ambulance out in front?
That's right. Your client was in it.
Huh?
Somebody stuffed her full of something that made her giggle.
I don't understand all this at all. I stopped by home to change to my dark suit so I could come by and bring Miss Santino the news of her sister's death. And what do I walk
You can
into?
save your tears, Fatso. She didn't come from Brazil and she wasn't rich.
That woman gave me $200 cash. There was nothing unreliable about her. We had a contract.
Well, New Year's coming up. You can use it for confetti.
Now, see here, Regan.
Look at this picture.
Irene Santino. I have one just like it.
All right, draw some glasses on it. Add about 6 or 7 years.
I don't understand you, Regan. We're talking business, and all at once we're playing games.
Look, when I came to see her tonight, she wasn't wearing her glasses. She looked a lot like the dame in this picture.
Well, of course she did, naturally. That's her own sister.
She never had a sister.
Never had a sister? Then who did the county bury?
That's what I'm going to find out from a certain Dr. Kingston.
I had a feeling you'd be back. I built a fire.
I forgot the marshmallows.
We'll think of something else. I'm not mad anymore.
I'm still looking for your doctor.
Well, let me take care of you. I have a way with men.
Didn't we do all this once before?
Well, it's night now. I'm better with the lights low. You can ask me some questions. I know some swell answers.
I'll bet.
How do you like it?
Your way.
There. That's better. Now let's have a nice, quiet evening. Just you and me.
That's why you wore that?
You like it?
You got talent, lady.
Well, discover me. There's been a famine of men like you.
You don't look underfed.
Come on, you haven't touched your drink.
I want to see him.
Oh, all right. We could have had such a nice evening. Rex.
What is it?
Mr. Regan's here again.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Regan. Didn't I tell you I'd be out?
You told me that, but you didn't tell me what I wanted to know. Had to go to Vital Statistics to get it.
What?
You don't have anything in your files about Carmen Santino, but you signed her death certificate.
Now, you get this, Regan. I don't have to talk to anyone who comes here without a warrant, and you haven't got one.
When I tell the city attorney's office what I've got, they'll have somebody out here to open that grave on the hill.
What do you mean, Regan?
Irene Kingston died 2 days before Carmen Santino of the same thing. Dr. Kingston signed both certificates, and he collects on his wife's insurance. Only I don't think his wife really died. I think that extra grave on the hill is window dressing.
My wife didn't die, Regan. Where is she now?
I don't know. But she could be around town using the name of Irene Santino. It was a shot in the dark, but it brought results. Kingston swung the lamp base around it, connected on the side of my head. When I came to, I was in a white room in the back of the house. Nothing worked.
Irene,
So I
will you
just lay
please
there.
bring a bottle?
Vivian was standing there with Kingston. He looked sick, like an ostrich with
Will
a
you
sore throat.
please, Irene?
He had a needle in his hand.
I got the shakes.
You do it all right, Rex. Go ahead.
The same treatment you two tried to give Irene.
Should have stayed out, Regan.
I wanted one more look at you, baby.
I hate to see the nice ones go, but it'll be all over in a minute. All right, Rex.
Give me a drink, Vivian. I gotta have a drink.
It won't help. I found Irene in time. She's in a hospital.
What?
She's going to live. She's going to talk.
Go ahead,
Irene's
Rex.
still alive?
Rex, give it to him, and then we'll clear out.
I didn't kill her. I didn't kill
It'll
her.
be better this time.
I can't.
Go ahead.
No, I won't.
I said go ahead. I'll shoot you, Rex. I'll shoot you if you don't.
No, you won't. It's all over, Vivian. It's all over.
But Kingston was too much for her. All of a sudden, it began going off. Vivian started to look pale. Then she went down. Slow.
Oh, she deserved that.
That's what you're going to tell the state?
Regan, Is Irene really going to live?
That's what the doctor says.
Oh, good. Regan, look, no, don't try to move. I gave you a shot of preparatory solution. You won't be able to move for another hour. I suppose I ought to run.
You won't get far.
I know. Listen to me. Irene is my wife. She's innocent of all this. When you tell the police the real story,
I haven't got it all. I know it started with Carmen Santino.
Oh, she stumbled in one night, dropped dead before I could do anything.
Alcohol.
Yeah. Before she died, she kept talking about a man named Martin.
Lives over on Laurel.
But I didn't get in touch with him. I had a better idea. She looked a great deal like my wife, Irene. It was really quite remarkable.
The insurance?
Yeah. Irene didn't want to do it, but she loved me, so she finally agreed to hide out in New York. I used one body for 2 death certificates, buried an empty box up on the hill. I was supposed to join Irene later. We were going to start a new life together.
Vivian.
Yeah. Vivian came along. I was drinking one night. She found out the truth. I was trapped. Would have stayed that way if Irene hadn't hired you.
Well, it figures she made up that story about a sister from Brazil just to scare you into getting rid of Vivian.
It worked, too. I'm scared stiff.
Yeah, like that guy Martin said. Somebody gets scared, and then you... everybody.
Regan? Regan, can you hear me?
Huh? Oh, sorry. Stuff's making me sleep.
Yeah, that'll wear off. I'm going now, Regan. See that Irene gets a fair shake.
I'll try. He picked up a bottle and started out the door. He didn't even look down at Vivian's body on the floor. I tried to move, but like you said, nothing worked. It was more than 2 hours before I could get to the phone and call homicide. And it was more than 2 days before I talked to the line.
Jeffrey, my boy, how are you feeling? Better?
Well, the fog's gone out of my head, if that's what you mean. Otherwise, I feel lousy.
Oh, don't take it so hard, my boy. All in a day's work. Besides, there's the brighter side. Yes, indeed.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, they got that Dr. Kingston. He only got as far as Las Vegas. Crime doesn't pay, Jeffrey. Crime just does not pay.
Doesn't, huh? What's this?
Now, wait a minute. Give me that.
Application, consolidated insurance.
It's nothing, I tell you.
You mean to tell me you're going to try to collect rewards?
Well, we did expose an insurance fraud, and there's nothing in the world that stinks like a fraud.
I'll say.
Hey, wait a minute, Regan. Where are you going?
Out to buy an Airwick.
Jeff Regan, Investigator, is written by E. Jack Newman, directed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Frank Graham as Regan, with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arant. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is heard each week at the same time over CBS. Bob Stevenson speaking, and inviting you to be with us again next Wednesday at 9 for more suspense and mystery and adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A small bakery shop in your city is held up. A man and his daughter are shot down without reason. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, November 3rd. It was chilly in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Ed Walker. My name's Friday. It was 5 minutes to midnight when we got to 318 Silver Avenue, Stendel's bakery shop.
Yeah?
Romero and Friday sent for robbery.
Hi, I'm Jacobs, Unit 16R. My partner Olson's back there in the shop talking to the owner.
You answered the call, did you?
Yeah, must have been a crazy man shot two of them down, cold blood. There they go in the ambulance now. Shot up pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. Who runs the place?
Swedish family named Stendal. Father, mother, two daughters. All four of them work in the bakery here.
Mm-hmm. They all here at the time of the robbery?
Yeah, the hold-up man shot the father and the oldest daughter. The mother and the younger girl are in the back, straight through that door.
Okay. Thanks, Jacob.
Right, Sergeant.
Joe, on the side of the door here. Looks like a bullet hole.
Yeah. Hey, Jacob.
Yes, Sergeant.
You want to call into the crime lab, ask them to send somebody out?
Right.
Thank you.
Hi, you Olson?
That's right.
Romero and Friday sent for robbery.
Oh, how are you? These are two of the victims, Mrs. Signe Stendal. The girl's her daughter, name's Jennifer.
Any other witnesses?
Not so far. Neighborhood around here is pretty deserted this time of night. Hold-up man made a fast getaway.
And two people who were shot, what kind of shape are they in?
The father, Mr. Stendal, he's got a bullet wound in the right shoulder. Older daughter's a lot worse. Her name's June, 19 years old, shot 4 or 5 times through the stomach.
Mm-hmm. You want to stand by?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Mrs. Stendal, we're from robbery detail.
Ja, how do you do?
How do you do?
Jenny, var snäll och se ansiktsplats för herrarna. 2 stolar.
Yes, Mama.
You will excuse me for not getting up, officer. I don't feel so well.
That's perfectly all right, ma'am.
Chair for you, officer.
Oh, thank you. I'll get it.
Thank you very much. You and your daughter here were in the front of the bakery shop at the time of the robbery. Is that right, Miss Stendal?
No. Jenny was back here with her father. That's Lars, my husband. Uni and I were in the shop in front.
Oh, who were you with, ma'am?
Uni and I.
Joe?
Mama means June, my older sister. She calls her June.
Yeah, June.
Oh, well.
Do you mind telling us what happened?
Well, June and I was scrubbing the floor of the shop. Every Tuesday night we scrubbed the floor of the shop. Then this man came in and pointed a gun. He wanted our money.
About what time did he come in?
11:15, 11:20. I don't remember for certain. He wanted our money and I gave it to him.
How much was that, ma'am?
Jenny, du vet. Hur mycket pengar var det förresten?
$24.
Yeah, $24. Just the paper money. He took it and put it in his pocket. June, my daughter, she started to cry. The man hit her. She cried some more. Then Lars and Jenny came running from the back.
Yes, ma'am.
The man pointed the gun. He made Lars and me and Jenny stand against that wall. But not June. He took hold of her. Jenny, hur ser du dig? Den vägen din mannen But
It was getting fresh with her, Mama. The man tried to get fresh with June officers. June hit him. He tried to drag her out the door with...
Yeah, June hit him. Hit him good. And he went like that, threw her against the counter and pushed June down. Crazy man. Crazy look. He kicked her.
Mm-hmm.
Then Lars, my husband, he ran at the man. He heard the gun loud, and Lars fell down.
And I screamed.
Yeah, and I screamed. I turned and I saw the man standing over June. He pointed the gun down at her.
Yes, ma'am.
Crazy look on him. He kept shooting her 4, maybe 5 times. June screamed. She kept screaming. The man ran out the door.
It's all right now, Miss Linda.
Had either one of you ever seen this man before?
No.
No, neither did I.
Would you know him if you saw him again?
Yeah, I think so.
I would, officer. I got a good look at him. He was wearing a blue cap like a baseball player wears.
Mm-hmm. How'd he get away? Was he on foot or did he have a car?
Nobody followed him, but after he left, I heard a car start up down the block, and then it drove away.
Do you have anything else to add, Mrs. Stendhal?
I hope you catch the man. He's bad. Please catch him.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to try.
Jenny, var snäll och ge mig Nichols ifrån kassan.
Yes, Mom. Here, Mama.
Here, officer. When you find the man, please call me.
You keep the nickels. We'll call you. Before we left the scene of the robbery and shooting, Mrs. Stendhal and her daughter gave us their description of the hold-up man, together with the clothing he wore. The suspect had no outstanding physical characteristics that they'd noticed. The only thing unusual about his clothing was that he wore what appeared to be a baseball cap at the time of the hold-up. She described the cap as light blue with a visor. Together with Officers Bechtel and Lopez from Central Robbery, we canvassed the immediate neighborhood for other possible witnesses. We found none. The next morning, we went out to the hospital. The condition of the older daughter, June, was critical. We interviewed the father. He could tell us nothing. At 10 a.m., Mrs. Stendhal and her younger girl, Jenny, were brought to the office, and we started them looking through mug books of parolees previously convicted of armed robbery. Within 2 hours, both of them positively identified the picture of a recent San Quentin release as that of the hold-up man. His name was Harold Best. We started a quick rundown.
You pulled the package, Johnny?
Yeah, here's the dope. Harold Best. Alias Harold Norris, alias Harold Thompson, alias Tom Norris. One term for armed robbery in Q. Got out 4 months ago. Ammo and description both match.
How about the ex-con files you checking?
He's registered. Did you get a hold of his parole officer?
Yeah, 2440 Excelsior Avenue's rooming house.
Well, that checks with the ex-con files.
Parole officer says Best went to work 2 weeks ago at a filling station over on Vermont.
Yeah?
Doesn't seem to be able to hold a job. Quarrelsome, run himself into debt. I got it. Robbery, Romero. Yeah, right. That's all, huh? Yeah. Right, bye. Ray Pinker at the crime lab. They checked the slugs taken from the 2 victims.
Yeah?
They came from a .32 caliber revolver. Probably a Colt.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
That's it. Not too bad a start.
We've had worse.
Yeah. Maybe we can make that phone call pretty quick.
2 p.m. Wednesday. Ben and I drove out to his rooming house at 2440 Excelsior Avenue, and we found that Herbert Best was still living there. We had the landlady show us his room. Besides the usual personal belongings, we came across nothing of consequence. After questioning the landlady, we drove to the service station on Vermont Avenue, where Best was supposed to be employed.
I don't see anyone around.
Oh, hey, there's a fellow over there greasing your car in there, right?
Oh, yeah. That looks like Best.
Mm-hmm. Hey, fella. You.
Yeah?
Can you tell us if there's a Herbert Best working here?
Sure, I'm him. Why?
Police officers would like to talk to you.
Yeah? What's the matter?
Routine investigation. Got a few questions for you.
Supposed to have this car greased up a 3:45. What am I supposed to do, please? You're the boss.
I'll find him, Joe. You got any heat on you?
No. What's it all about?
How long's this going to be?
A couple of minutes. Won't take more than a grease job. Put this thing in shape.
We'll wait for you.
How'd you find me? That nosy landlady of mine?
No, routine channel.
Every fettin' on this trap is froze. Piece of junk. Well, what's it all about?
Got a few things to straighten out, Best. How long you been working here?
Well, you didn't drive out here for that. That's not your game. What's the pitch?
Routine investigation. We'd like to know where you've been spending your nights.
For instance?
Sunday night? Where were you?
Well, I don't know. I went to a show. Yeah, I saw a Mickey Rooney picture.
Where?
Downtown. I had a beer after the show. Come home.
Well, how about Monday night?
I went home after work. I was pooped. Went to bed early.
Can you prove it?
Landlady saw me come in, always snooping around. She ought to know if I was there or not.
How about last night, Tuesday?
Played some cards with a friend of mine, him and his wife, Penny Annie Booker.
Where?
Their place, it's down on Pico, near the park. You can ask them.
What time did you get there?
Oh, I'm not sure. About 8 o'clock, I guess.
What time did you leave?
What's it all about?
What time did you leave?
Around midnight, yeah. Must have been around midnight.
What'd you play with your friend and his wife?
Poker. I lost as usual. Took a streetcar home, went to bed.
Sure you didn't leave earlier?
Of course I'm sure. It was around midnight, I remember.
How do you remember?
Looked at my watch. Good enough for you?
What time did you get home?
Well, it takes about a half hour on a trolley. Must have been about 12:30.
Did your landlady see you come in?
I don't know if she saw me or not. Always snooping around. Probably did.
You're not sure?
No, of course I'm not sure. She looks for me. I don't look for her.
You own a gun, Best?
You know better than that, copper. Ex-cons can't have a gun.
Your friend and his wife. Now, they're going to back you up if you were playing cards with them till midnight?
Why not? I was. Say, there's a boss looking for me. I better let him know I'm here.
Just a minute, Best.
Yeah?
What's that you got in your back pocket there?
Huh?
In your back pocket, the right one there.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Baseball cap. Why?
4 p.m. Ben and I checked the suspect's locker at the service station and then drove him back to the office, the interrogation room. We continued questioning him. He denied any knowledge of the holdup and shooting at Stendhal's bakery shop the night before. We asked him again about the friends he was supposed to be playing cards with at the time of the robbery. He told us that they lived over on Pico, but he couldn't remember the address. He volunteered to direct us there, but he said they wouldn't be home. He told us their names were Mr. and Mrs. Clyde Mitchell, and that they were in charge of the food concessions at one of the football stadiums in town. Best was held for suspicion of robbery. That night, we drove out and interviewed the landlady at his boarding house. She knew nothing of Best's whereabouts the previous night. She didn't know what time he left or what time he returned. Ben and I went over his room again. There was no sign of a gun. Friday, 2 p.m. Officers Bechtel and Lopez went out to the hospital to see if Mr. Stendhal and his daughter June could identify Best's mugshot. Ben and I drove out to the stadium to locate Mr. and Mrs. Clyde Mitchell. There was a high school football game going on.
High school kids sure have a lot of fun nowadays. Best years of your life, Joe.
Well, you sound like you're 85.
Some nights I feel like it. The way those kids turn out for these things, you'd think USC and Notre Dame were playing.
You see the number on that gate over there?
Yeah, it's 23. Is that the number the gatekeeper gave me?
Yeah. Must be the Mitchell stand over there. Come on.
Oh, miss, can you tell us where to find Mr. and Ms. Mitchell?
Yeah, around back to the stand. You're knocking the door.
Thank you.
Yeah, come on in.
You Ms. Mitchell?
That's right. What is it?
Police officers. I'd like to talk to you if you have a few minutes.
All right, I'm having to buy the lunch, but come on in. Shut the door.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Lousy food business. You never get a chance to feed yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, care for some of these? New kind of potato chip. Revolutionary, it says.
Oh?
Mother Thompson's puff chips, flavored. Got all kinds, see? These here are a combination, see. Garlic and eggplant. Sure tastes different. Have some?
No, thank you very much.
I would. Thank you. See, we're inquiring about a friend of yours, Ms. Mitchell. Maybe you can tell us something about him.
Oh, who's that?
Man by the name of Herbert Best.
Herb? Yeah, old-time friend of my husband's. What do you want to know?
You see him quite often, do you, Miss Mitchell?
Mm-hmm. Once, twice a month. Clyde and I play cards or go out bowling with him. Herb's pretty good company.
Uh-huh. When's the last time you saw him?
Early this week, Tuesday, I think it was.
Sure, it was Tuesday.
Yeah. It was. We played cards. Why?
That's your place?
That's right, a little poker. Clyde and Herb and me.
What time did Best get to your place, Ms. Mitchell?
Right after I finished up with the dinner dishes, around 7:45, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. How long did he stay?
A couple of hours. We sat around, had a few drinks, played poker, nickel limit.
What time did he leave? Do you remember that?
A little before 10, I think.
You sure that, ma'am, it's important?
Sure as I can be. Must have left before 10 because Clyde and I listened to the 10 o'clock news alone. Then we went to bed right after.
Your friend Best tells us he didn't leave your place until midnight.
Oh, that's not right. There must be mixed up. He left before 10, I'm sure of that.
All right, Ms. Mitchell. Thank you.
Say, I hope I haven't said anything I shouldn't have. I know Herb's an ex-con.
Yeah.
He likes to gamble. You're not checking up on him for Tuesday night, are you?
That's right.
You playing too much poker?
We're not playing enough. 3:30 p.m. We located Mr. Mitchell, corroborated his wife's story, and then we went back to the city hall. Officers Bechtel and Lopez were waiting for us. They told us that they had seen Mr. Stendhal and his daughter, June, at the hospital. Both of them had identified Herbert Best's mugshot as that of the holdup man. At a show-up, Mrs. Stendhal and her daughter identified Best. We checked auto records for all stolen cars that might tie in. There were none. We then started to work on the theory that he had taken a bus from his friend's place where he had been playing cards to the Stendhal bakery where the shooting took place. Lopez and Bechtel rode the bus over the same route. It took 43 minutes. Plenty of time for Best to have gotten from one place to the other, even on a slow run. We interviewed the bus driver who'd been on duty that particular line Tuesday night between 10 p.m. and midnight. He identified Best as one of his passengers, but he didn't remember where he got off. The next morning, Ben and I met with Ed Walker, captain of robbery.
Hi. How'd you make out? Just saw the deputy DA. Laid out the case for him. Yeah? We got the complaint. He'll be arraigned this afternoon. How strong a case you got?
Well, each one of the Stendhal family identified Best. His alibi didn't stand up for Tuesday night.
Uh-huh.
And we got that bus driver. He tapped Best, too. And that blue baseball cap. All we need now is the hold-up gun.
I hate to spoil it for you. This letter just came through in the mail. Have a look. Thanks. What do you think? I read in the paper this morning about Herbert Best. You got the wrong guy. I'm the one who held up that bakery.
Every detail about that robbery's written down in that letter. The information wasn't in the newspaper story. Nobody else but the hold-up man would know all those details.
Yeah, wait a minute, listen to this.
Yeah?
If you don't believe I'm the right man, I'll shoot up a couple of more jerks. Next time, I'll kill him.
It's no crank letter.
No, it isn't.
You got the wrong man.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to this case history recorded by a typical Fatima smoker.
Hi there. My name is Bab Beckwith. Bab. That's short for Bethany Ann Beckwith. I live in New York City, and I'm a fashion stylist. The other day, at a showing of the new fall styles, I ran out of cigarettes. A friend of mine, a designer, introduced me to the new long Fatima. I really wish someone had told me about them sooner. Fatimas are a lot milder than the cigarettes I've been smoking, and they have a delightful flavor, too. I'm very glad to recommend them to you, because I know from experience it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatimas.
And more smokers every day are finding that out. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
After we received the anonymous letter in the mail confessing to the Stendhal Bakery holdup, we met with the deputy district attorney. We acquainted him with the new facts in the case. That afternoon, the charges against Herbert Best were dropped. We started again at the beginning. 10 a.m. Monday, November 9th. The members of the Stendhal family were again shown mug books of ex-cons with robbery records. This time they picked out 8 mug shots of known robbery men, each with a marked resemblance to the original suspect, Herbert Best. Together with officers Bechtel and Lopez, we started checking them out. The first 2 days, we tracked down 4 of the 8. All of the 4 were in the clear. 5:15 p.m., we got back to the city hall, the carpool.
See any empty spots, Joe?
No, but don't park it in any one of the city councilman's stalls.
Yeah, I might get sore.
Well, why don't you pull up here? Boyd will take care of it.
Yeah, okay.
That's good right here.
Doggone it, I knew there's something I forgot to do.
What's that?
Oh, they had an underwear sale today. That place down in South Fig, shorts, T-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Wife told me to be sure and get down there.
Well, that'll be another one. That place has sales all the time, don't they?
Only twice a year on underwear. Stuff I've got's not going to last till next time.
Friday? Ben? Wait a minute.
Jim Beck.
Yeah. Hi, Beck.
Hi. Well?
Yeah. How'd you make out?
2 men we checked were clean. We picked up something 77th Street station. Now, go ahead, Ben.
Uh-huh. Well, watch that elevator door.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Well, what's with 77th Street?
Oh, a couple of men in traffic out there covered an accident this afternoon. 91st and Central, hit and run.
That's so?
And one of our traffic cars saw the collision, took out after the guy. Chased him 10 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And while they were chasing him, they thought they saw the driver throw something out of the car window.
Yeah, what?
I'm coming to that. When they finally pulled the car over, gray coupe, the driver told him his shoulder was wrenched in the accident. He was on his way to his own doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Our men took him to 77th Street, had the doc there look at him.
Yeah.
Well, the doc was treating the guy. Only one of the officers was in the room.
Mm-hmm.
When he turned to get a drink of water, the suspect slugged him, then the doctor. Jumped out of the window, got away. Teletype's out on him.
We went to an awful lot of trouble to beat a traffic rap.
Yeah, that's the way to impress the boys out there. They got out of broadcasting the guy, went back to the spot where they thought they saw the guy toss this thing out of his car when they were chasing him.
Did it pay off?
They found a .32 Colt revolver. Our Russ Camp's checking it now over in the crime lab.
What did they say the man looked like?
Description measures pretty close to our holdup guy.
I'll get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah, just a minute. See you back.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Russ. Yeah. Okay, fine, right. Russ Camp checked the .32 revolver with the slugs in the Stendhal case.
Yeah.
Positive make.
The gray coupe, which the unidentified suspect had been driving, had been checked out by traffic officers at 77th Street Division. They had found that the owner and driver of the car was a man named Bruno Stock, a 2-time loser with a page full of major and minor crimes to his credit. We checked his mama sheet, and we got out a broadcast on him in an APB. A stakeout had been placed at his last known address. We picked up a sandwich and a cup of coffee for dinner, and then we started checking out Bruno Stock's relatives and friends. By 6 o'clock the following night, we still had no idea where he was. A little after 9 p.m., we got a call from an informant who told us that a Tommy Josephson, a small-time thief and reputedly a friend of Bruno Stock's, wanted to talk to us. We found him in a small apartment over on West 6th.
One thing I want to set you straight on. Bruno's no friend of mine. He's in on the heavy rackets. No heavy racket man's a friend of mine.
All right, we got it. Now where's Bruno?
He came here tonight, 6:15, moved right in on me, didn't even ask me.
What do you want with you?
Now, you remember, Bruno's no friend of mine.
Yeah, we got that. Now, what do you want?
A gun. He knew I had one. I keep it for self-protection. You can't trust these heavy men.
Did you give him the gun?
Give it to him. He took it. Shook me down like a rat. Made me go out and buy dinner for him. My own dough. Have to bring it back here from.
Yeah.
Bruno's no friend of mine. What he does with that gun is his grief. It's out of my hands.
When did he leave here?
An hour ago, I think. Maybe a little less. Shook me down like a rat. Real heavy guy.
Where was Bruno going?
I don't know. He's crazy. All them heavy guys are crazy. Talk like somebody with a paper head.
Did he tell you where he was going?
See a friend of his over in Dogtown. Guy runs a bowling alley. Bruno's going to borrow his car.
What for?
He's heavy, I tell you. Said he was going out on a heist tonight. Did he ever write you guys a letter?
Why?
Well, he told me he was going to prove what he wrote to you. Crazy. I didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
Said he was going out to kill a couple of jerks.
9:30 p.m. We got the address of the bowling alley run by Bruno Stock's friend, and we called the office. An alert for the suspect was broadcast immediately. Together with Gene Bechtel and Lopez, we drove to the bowling alley. Ben and I went in. Bechtel and Lopez covered the outside.
It's a good crowd. I wonder where they do business. I don't see any counter.
No, neither do I.
Oh, yeah. There it is. Way over in the corner.
Oh, yeah. There's nobody behind the cash register. How about that fellow in the white T-shirt standing by the cigarette machine?
Yeah, looks like he works here. Let's go. Joe, guy with him. Just turned towards
Bruno, come on.
He sees us. He's going to the back.
All right, Joe, let's hold it up. Come on.
He ducked in there to the right, Joe.
Down behind the alley. Hold it up, Stock.
The window, Joe.
He went right through it. Come on. Here.
There he is. Get out.
Joe? He's in there, Beck. Cover the front.
Right. Over the fence, Joe. There he is.
All right, give it back.
Yep.
Come on.
You see?
No.
Got to be in the yard someplace.
Yeah.
Where'd it come from?
I can't see. Keep down.
Backstairs of that house. There he is.
Give it up, Stock. All right, mister.
You tag him.
Come on.
What's it look like?
Wait a minute. It's a shoulder wound. You want to shake him down?
Yeah.
Joe? Ben? You all right?
Yeah. Get an ambulance, will you, Beck?
Right.
I'll throw the cuffs on him.
Yeah. Well, that's it, Joe.
Yeah.
Where you going?
I got a phone call to make.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 18th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 84, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. In the Record Bureau of all metropolitan police departments, there's a special file in which all known criminals are cataloged and cross-indexed according to identifying marks. Marks which help the working detective. And so with the cigarette. The outstanding identifying mark of Fatima is quality. The careful selection and blending of only the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild. Now, if you're a long cigarette smoker, you'll find, like I did, that every pack is extra mild. You'll find it's the best of long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Bruno Alfred Stock was tried and convicted of first-degree robbery and assault with intent to commit murder, 2 counts. Because of his prior convictions, he was adjudged an habitual criminal and sentenced to a life imprisonment. He is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Coming up, Duffy's Tavern. Next Tuesday, it's Fibber McGee on NBC.
That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. Oh, sure, you can spell it 50 different ways, but down on the waterfront in San Francisco, it all means the same thing. You pay and I'll do, and the customer's always right if he's got an open wallet. And I'll match it with an open mind. Unless he's after murder, then the price gets out of range. And down here, you're either high on your toes or flat on your back, because most of the time you get only one kind of pitch, fast and inside, and you don't try if you're foul because nobody cares. Even then, you can't complain. During the summer, the morgue's the coolest spot in town. Oh, I rent boats and wrap up small sins in $20 bills. The money's good when you get it, but there's no retirement plan, and you can't buy vaccination for trouble. I found that out last Wednesday night. I closed up shop about 8 o'clock, and I started walking home. The city was down on its hands and knees trying to crawl through one of those San Francisco hot spells that blast by every 5 years. From up on the hill, the Chinatown tenements lined up down below like sweaty little kids waiting for a shower. It was heat and headaches all the way. But when I opened my front door and stepped inside, who wanted to talk about the weather? She was standing in the dark smoking a cigarette, and the silhouette her figure cut against the window was something you'd never believe. Then she reached over and turned on a lamp. It was a fast, dizzy trip, but when I got around to her eyes, they were the kind that made you think of hard-working geysers. Deep and warm, and you knew you could count on some fast action when they came to a boil. The smile was familiar, and the lips were red and moist, like a souped-up rose waiting for a bee. She did lots of nice things with her mouth, and talking was one of them.
Patsy, welcome home. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Georgie. What's on your mind?
Patsy, can't you ever take your time?
It's not mine, it's borrowed. Anything special in mind?
Easy business. Got a drink?
How easy?
Just a boat ride. You can't get hurt.
That's what they told the Spanish Armada.
Getting soft, Patsy?
No, not in the head. Now, look, if it's work, let's talk. Otherwise, let's just be cute, huh?
All right, Patsy. The last time you saw me was a year ago. As far as you know, I'm not in town. Fine?
You tell me. Go on.
Tomorrow night, a freighter's due in here from Shanghai. The SS Calcutta. I want to be on the welcoming committee.
Who says you can't?
Nobody yet. But the ship's going to anchor in the stream, so I need a boat, and I need you.
I'm not the social type. I don't think I'll go.
Believe me, Patsy, it's an easy trip.
So's falling downstairs. Come on, let's deal or drink.
All right, Patsy. My stepmother's going to meet the Calcutta, too.
Who's she?
Mrs. Sheila Lampson.
She likes parties?
She likes a package she's going to get from somebody aboard the Calcutta.
What's in it?
That's her business. I just want to make sure she gets that package ashore all right.
You in on it?
She doesn't even know I'm in town.
Who picks up the check?
Here. Will $40 cover it?
It's too much for an easy job and not enough for a hard one. Where do I find you if I need bail?
Here's a phone number. You can call me there tomorrow. And Patsy, thanks. I don't forget easy.
Why the rush?
Because you scare me, Patsy. You really scare me. You remember the party, Patsy?
Yeah. But memories are like everything else. They wear out.
Then let's make some new ones, Patsy.
At the door and watched her move down the hall toward the stairs. The white dress she had on was plain enough, but it didn't have a mind of its own. It just did what it was told and tried to behave, but Georgian nature wouldn't let it. There was only one catch in seeing Georgie. She always left too soon, like a small bottle of fine whiskey. Well, it must have been a good 5 minutes after she left when I heard the buzzer. I was looking for the white dress when I opened the door, but I was looking the wrong way. Something with an echo, and it came down hard on the side of my head. I went down like mercury in a quick freeze. The trip wasn't nice, but it was long. Halfway there, I came up for breath, and I found the deck of one of my own boats under me. The Bay Bridge lights were still around, and that made it kind of cozy. When my eyes got in focus, the smooth-looking bundle laid out next to me shaped up like Georgie Lampson. She wasn't looking her best. I had just enough time to remember a pair of women's shoes standing next to my face, and then I must have moved, and they punched my ticket for a return trip. The next time I opened my eyes, I was looking up at the lights on Pier 19. Oh, the shoes were still there, but this time they were black, and the feet inside squashed out wide and flat like tired beefsteak. That meant only one thing: Hellman from Homicide.
You can stop playing mouse, Novak. Get up. The party's over.
Yeah, Hellman. I thought they'd never go home.
Your boyfriend here isn't talking.
He's bashful?
Yeah, Novak. He's real shy. He's dead. Who is he?
That's what you get paid for. What about the girl that was here?
County Hospital. You better pray she makes it, Novak.
Because you like blondes, Hellman?
Because nobody beats 2 murder raps, Novak.
Oh, you talk funny.
So does this hunk of lead pipe. Your prints are all over it.
What's that make me, a plumber?
Better than that, Novak. The pipe fits a dent in that guy's skull like it grew there.
Well, maybe he's the plumber.
You're smart, Novak. Now, come on. Who's the guy and who is the dame?
She's Georgie Lampson, the guy I don't know.
Will, Novak.
We'll take care of that.
Oh, you try hard, don't you, Hellman? You move your lips when you read, you use your fingers when you count, but you never get the right answer.
Don't tempt me, Novak. I'm not my cherry best in the morning.
You don't have a best, Hellman. You tried thinking once, but it gave you a headache. Now when you get in a squeeze, you have to pound your way out with your fist.
I warned you, Novak. Now talk nice and save teeth.
Yeah. I'll talk when that blonde tells her story.
If she makes the grade, how does she figure?
She met me in my apartment last night on business. 5 minutes after she left, the doorbell rang. When I answered it, somebody sapped me. Now you take it from there.
Yeah, I will. Right to the DA.
Go ahead, Hellman, but don't look hurt when the case blows up in your face.
You giving odds?
That's all I'm giving, Hellman. You figure it. I took the gal and this girl I don't even know for a ride at 3 a.m. We had a party and I killed a guy. But the gal I only messed up good because I like the way she talks.
You sound scared, Novak.
Well, I'm not, Hellman, but you are because it doesn't add. Why did I beat my skull with that same hunk of pipe, and how did I drive back here to meet you?
Keep your mouth open, smart boy. They got a little green room up at San Quentin. Gets awful stuffy when they close the door.
Well, after I left Hellman, I figured I'd had a bumper crop of trouble for one day. The sun was just beginning to stagger up over the Berkeley Hills when I caught a cab uptown. On the way, I stopped off for coffee and a 6 a.m. Chronicle at one of those little Greek joints off Geary Street. The windows were blind with grease and the light was bad, but the reading was money from home. The story made me stop counting the lumps on my head. Professor Burton Lampson. He'd gotten himself murdered in a Shanghai hotel room a month ago, and they were sending his body back on the SS Calcutta. It was due to anchor in the bay that night, like Georgie said, but the shipping page didn't agree. The Calcutta was listed inside the gate at 7:30 the night before. How did that check out? And what about that package that had everybody worried? Well, when I got back to my apartment, I called the hospital to check on Georgie. And they were still giving odds, the long, thin kind. A little later, I was in the middle of a cold shower, adding up rows of zeros and getting different answers every round when the phone rang. It was Hellman, and he was selling nothing but smiles.
You feeling any better, Novak?
Oh, don't tell me you're worried.
We just identified the dead guy. His name's Warren Haynes, local socialite. You know him?
Yeah, I'm an old friend of the family.
The guy's from one of the old families in town, the important kind.
His blood wasn't blue.
No, but we are. We're feeling the pressure already, so I'm calling you in today for a little talk.
That's a great job, Hellman. You keep right on smacking your fat lips because you're going to get more answers than questions.
That's funny, Novak. I didn't think you knew the difference.
When I hung up the phone, I was seeing more red than the bleachers at a bullfight. I probably would have walked right by him if he didn't open his mouth. Even then, it wasn't much more than a loud squeak. He was a skinny guy standing against the door with a half smile twisting his mouth and a bright, wild look in his eyes.
You seem disturbed, Mr. Novak.
Where's your invitation, mister?
This should prove sufficient, Mr. Novak.
All right, so you want a gun. What happens now?
Now, Mr. Novak, I use the gun unless you hand over the package.
Sorry, mister, you're in the wrong laundry.
Mr. Novak, I've been crossed once today. I don't intend it shall happen twice. The package?
Now, look, I'm going to spell it again. I don't know what you're talking about. Now, take that cannon you're pointing and...
I think you realize I'm about to use this gun, Mr. Novak, for the last time.
All right. We'll find it right over there. Now here, right next to... Now, come on, give me that gun before somebody gets hurt. He stood there for a minute, shaking his head as if he wanted to go back and wipe 5 minutes from his life. All of a sudden, he jerked around in his tracks and he stumbled for the door like a timid drunk when you tell him he's had enough. Then he folded up hard against the wall on his knees. But it was a little too late for prayers. I stood there for a minute trying to think of a good lawyer who owed me money, but all I could see was a courtroom and a picture of Hellman smiling as he listened to the verdict. Well, accident or not, if Hellman dropped in with a body on the floor, he'd bury me so deep in San Quentin he'd be bringing me air in paper bags. When a knot in my stomach untied, I dragged the little guy away from the door and I rolled him on his back. His eyes were still asking for the package, but the rest of him didn't care. Outside of a few bucks, his wallet was empty, not even a laundry tag. Well, I got dressed and I pulled the blinds and locked the place up. And then I went out to look for the only honest guy I know, an ex-doctor by the name of Jocko Madigan. He was a fine surgeon until something made him decide life was temporary at best. Now he's got a permanent post on a bar stool looking for answers at the bottom of whiskey bottles. Well, it's hard on the liver that way, but you're never short on dreams. I finally found him with a bourbon halo in a musty little Italian joint over in North Beach. It was a long stretch from Easter Monday, but he was still celebrating Irish independence. He looked like he was on the wrong side because his nose was a bright orange.
That's
Patsy, my boy, you're just in time. These simple but honest Sicilians have agreed to embark with me on a crusade. And as honorary past president of the Sons of St. Patrick, the Powell Street chapter, I invite you to join us.
Hold on, Jocko. Sober up. I gotta talk to you.
To fittingly observe the occasion of old Ayre's joyful victory, we're first fortifying ourselves with grappa and bushmills. Then we sally forth to chase all the snakes out of Long Beach and the cockroaches out of Chinatown. How does that strike you, Patsy? And why aren't you smiling? 'Tis a glorious day.
Because I'm in a jam and I want to talk, Jocko. Now cut it.
Oh, Patsy, you remind me of that De Valera fellow. You're sitting on the curb and pouting just because they won't let you march in front of the band in the victory parade. You're sour, Patsy. Admit it.
Jocko, will you snap out of it? I'm in big trouble.
You're always in trouble, Patsy. You're a child of adversity, a son of scorn. The fates spit in your eye and you try to retaliate, but the wind's always blowing in the wrong direction. You're a lost leaf in the mortal storm, Patsy. You're a pebble shaking a tiny fist at the mountain. You'd like to fight for some strange, fantastic cause, wouldn't you, Patsy? But you can't find anybody your size. Men are too small and the gods are too big. Patsy, you're lost.
Are you all through?
Yeah. What kind of trouble?
Oh, it's a pair of bum murder raps, Jocko. Somebody sapped me in my apartment last night and I woke up this morning with a dead guy.
That sounds interesting. What was it you were drinking?
Hellman's out to pin this on me.
Oh, a dubious honor. You mentioned 2 murders.
A guy came in my apartment this morning waving a gun and asking for a package that I never heard of. We started wrestling for the gun.
Mildly exciting. Who got it?
He did, right in the chest.
Patsy, you have absolutely no excuse for losing your temper. Why, you're not even Irish. Still, you're always getting hot-headed at the wrong time.
It was an accident, Jocko. I didn't even know the guy. I'm sorry, but I can't cry.
Sure, that's what the British general said after he hung Robert Emmett at the dock. But he didn't straighten out the Marcel in his neck. What are you doing out of jail?
Well, you knock it off, Jocko. Now, look, did you ever hear of a Mrs. Sheila Lampson?
Certainly, and I'm very offended with her. In the past year, she set up drinks for every eligible and non-eligible in San Francisco except me.
That sounds good. What else?
Not much, but I often wonder what that poor old professor she married does with his evenings.
Well, he stopped worrying, Jocko. He's dead. Now, look, will you hop down to the Chronicle morgue and check with Steve Nagel? Have him dig out all the old clips on the professor and Mrs. Lampson, will you? And while you're there, check on a guy by the name of Warren Haynes. You got that?
Yes, but what do I do for money?
$50 for car fare and nothing for booze.
Patsy, surely you're jesting.
Jocko, will you quit clowning and get going?
If you say so, Patsy, but you've broken up a beautiful party. My Sicilian friends have gone to sleep and I'm thirsty again. Let's have 4 or 5 for the road, shall we?
Later, Jocko.
Oh, all right, Patsy, but only for you. By the way, where can I find you?
I'm going to tag by the county hospital, and then I'm going to look up Sheila Lampson.
If I remember the story correctly, Patsy, you'd better reverse your schedule. Good night, lover.
When I left Jocko, I tagged by Mama Lupo's on Kearney Street, and I called the hospital again. Oh, Georgie was a little better. At least the undertakers had stopped bidding. Mama Lupo clouded up for a storm when I asked to borrow her new car for a couple of hours, but a few pats and a pinch, and she was all giggles and car keys. 10 minutes later, I was fighting traffic on Potrero Avenue. The south wind out there brought the slaughterhouses right into your front seat. I found the hospital out on the far edge, and it was a nice-looking pile of dirty red brick. The nurse in the ward didn't believe I was Georgie's brother until I asked her if she was busy Saturday night, then she saw the resemblance right away. I found Georgie behind a couple of screens at the end of the ward. For a dying woman, she looked pretty good. She smiled a little when she saw me, like she was saving up for a bigger try later on.
Patsy, I'm glad you made it.
Look, I'm going to keep it short, baby. Who was it last night?
Sorry, Patsy. Big deal.
You can't tell her, you won't.
Can't, Patsy. Later I will.
And that package, same deal?
Same.
Well, I got a deal too, Georgie, a murder rap. They want to hang it on me.
Who was it?
Warren Haynes, do you know him?
I remember. Good corpse.
Now, look, you're slicing it awful thin for $40, Georgie.
Patsy, trust me.
No choice, baby. You're driving. Don't go through any red lights.
I won't, Patsy.
Telephone, Mr. Novak. I said it was urgent.
That's it, Georgie. I'll see you later. Yeah.
Having a good time, Novak?
You know any phone numbers besides mine, Hellman?
Not today, bright boy. You near a streetcar, or do I send a chauffeur?
What's your beef?
Our beef, Novak. We'd like it fine if you paid us a visit real soon.
Sorry, Hellman. Book's solid.
Command performance, Novak. I wouldn't disappoint.
What's the matter, Hellman? You want it in blood? I told you I don't know anything about last night. I never saw Haynes before.
You got me wrong, Novak. This one's about a knife. We just found it in your office down on the waterfront.
That's fine. Peel yourself an apple and keep busy.
You better come down, Novak. We found the knife in some guy's back.
Houdini couldn't get out of that one in 2 hours with both hands and a can of olive oil. It was like chasing cyanide with a bucket of brandy. Well, it tastes bright, but it's only a matter of time. Well, I headed for Sheila Lampson's place, and on the way I pulled up by a drugstore out in the Haight Street jungles and called the Chronicle morgue. They said Jocko had just left, so I called the nearest bar and asked if they had a customer with a bright orange nose. They did.
Jocko Madigan speaking.
Jocko, this is Novak. What'd you find out?
Ah, Patsy. Just enjoying a small refresher after some very excellent reading.
For instance?
Sheila Howard Lampson. She started seeing the professor back in 46. There was a scandal, the nasty kind, and the professor's first wife, Barbara, jumped off the bridge, the Bay Bridge.
Yeah, go on.
A month after she married the professor, Sheila was mentioned in every gossip column in town. So the professor took off on a scientific trip to China. A month ago, he was murdered in a Shanghai hotel, and a hatful of emeralds was stolen. The authorities figured that the murder was premature.
What do you mean?
Well, the professor had 3 major operations, and at the time of the murder, he had less than a week to go.
What about Haynes?
Haynes is one of those black sheep that wealthy families have, cut off without a penny. He's one of Sheila Lampson's escorts, and he's now on his way back from the Orient on the SS Calcutta. Anything else?
Jocko, I could kiss you.
Patsy, you stick to your line, and I'll stick to mine.
Well, the puzzle was still a sack full of holes and question marks, but at least Jocko's leads had a little juice in them. I found the Lampson house in the best part of the Seacliff district. It was one of those big, nervous joints hanging by its shutters to the side of a steep drop that slid down sharp into the Pacific. All green trim and stucco the color of mortgages. The front doorbell was wearing out in my hand when the maid showed up, and then she was tongue-tied. She didn't know a thing except good money when it was offered. And then she told me I'd find Mrs. Lampson in the second-floor sitting room. She went away. I found the sitting room all right, but Mrs. Lampson wasn't there. So I followed on through till I came to a bedroom with a bright red ceiling and a lived-in feeling. Reminded you of something Henry VIII might order for a bridal suite. She was sitting next to the couch holding a martini and making noises like a leopard on a honeymoon.
Hello. Well, call me baby.
Yeah. You always wear handkerchiefs to parties?
Mm-hmm. Saves time. Dressing. You're nice. Have a drink?
I'll fix them.
Oh, you are nice. What's your name?
Novak. What's yours?
Billy.
Is that a name or a game?
You're just like Mike. He's my new boyfriend.
This is night off?
Oh, no. He just went downstairs for a minute. Hey, you mix a nice drink, Mr. Novak. Warm.
Yeah. You got a fever or something?
No. Must be the weather, Mr. Novak. You feel it?
You're a big spender, aren't you? What do I do when Mike walks in? Smile?
Oh, Mike's broad-minded.
How about Sheila?
You fix a good drink, Mr. Novak. You ask a lot of questions, too.
Yeah, well, that's because I like answers. Now, what about Sheila?
Hey, you're going to get rough. I'll call Mike.
All right.
I'm Sheila's sister, and it's much better when you're nice to me.
All right, then let's start being nice, huh?
Mr. Novak, what was that for?
I'm a big spender, too. Here, have another drink.
I think maybe I'll have another you, Mr. Novak. Is that Mike coming upstairs?
Could be, baby. Now, come on, where's Sheila?
Oh, Sheila, who cares? She's downtown anyway. She won't know. Hey, where are you going?
Sorry, baby, I got a date.
I'm not busy. Will I do?
Don't let him leave, Mike.
If he does, he's going to walk through me.
I'm sorry, baby, he's not my type. Mike was a tall, wide package, so I gave him a bargain offer. He didn't fold after 2, but he had a kind of hurt look in his eye when I hit him the 3rd time, like I didn't know he could take a hint. When he wound up and hit the floor, every window in the house rattled, and I figured the Berkeley seismograph got a cheap thrill. I made it as far as the front door when I heard a car pull up in the driveway. When I got to the window, a dame and a guy were getting out of a new Nash and heading for the door. The guy was a middle-class gunsel, but if the gal was Sheila Lampson, she made nice opposition. Well, I couldn't wait around to see. I finally managed to make my apartment without having one of Hellman's men pick me up, and when I got in, Jocko was just pouring himself another glass of Green Dreams and posing in the mirror like a man of distinction. The stiff was still there on the floor next to a glass of ice water.
Patsy, I don't approve of your choice of party guests.
The guy's dead, Jocko.
Oh. Well, in that case, I'll overlook it. This is the friend you were telling me about? When are you due at the gas chamber, Patsy?
Any phone calls?
Oh, now that you mention it, yes.
Hellman?
Regularly on the quarter hour. Not very coherent, but I got the idea he's looking for you. Also a call from the hospital. They wanted to know the whereabouts of a Miss Georgie Lampson.
What do you mean?
Seems she disappeared a few hours ago from one of their wards.
Oh.
Patsy, you look worried. Perhaps a sampling of this delicate dollar ambrosia would help. Try it.
No, thanks.
Suit yourself, Patsy. Myself, I'm an old subscriber to the Socrates plan of self-destruction. If you want it done right, do it yourself. By the way, have you noticed our friend's hands lately?
Huh?
It looks like he's entertaining a scrap of paper in his right hand.
Yeah, I see it. Oh, let me see that.
He seems kind of stingy with it, doesn't he?
Yeah, I got it.
Uh-huh. Oh, an old envelope. Not even a coded letter to puzzle over.
I'll settle for the address, Jocko. Take a look.
Captain Edward Small, SS Calcutta, Paramount Line, Shanghai. Well, that's nice. Shall we have another drink?
Later, Jocko. Right now we haven't got the time.
If that's who I think it is, Patsy, you're going to have lots of time. I'll just whip up a short one.
Novak talking.
Listen, smart boy, and listen hard. This is for the last time. You check in here in 10 minutes or I'll send out an all points. Dead or alive, Novak.
All right, Hellman. There's a dead guy here in my apartment right now. His name's Captain Edward Small, off the Calcutta.
I don't need any more bodies, Novak. I can hang you twice with what I got.
All right, Copper. But if you want your picture in the paper tomorrow, you can meet me out in Seacliff in 15 minutes. 48 Camino Drive. When I hung up the phone, most of the puzzle straightened out like wet wash in a dry wind. Well, there's one thing you can count on. When you bet on miracles, you buy a ticket straight through. I finally pulled up at the Lampson place, and I started looking around for Hellman. The joint looked about as crowded as a Kremlin breakfast for Senator Taft. I was taking a fast check, trying to figure how far they could have gone, when Hellman fought his way through the box hedge for the driveway. We circled down behind the garage and around in back of the house. We just made it in time for the curtain scene. Sheila Lampson was backing down slow toward the seawall, waving her arms in the air and begging every inch of the way. When Georgie stumbled after her like the avenging angel, and she had a gun. She had a coat tossed over her hospital gown, and the look in her eyes told the whole story. Tears and hate and lots of bullets.
Novak, you've got to stop her. She's crazy. She's crazy. She wanted to kill me.
What's so crazy about that?
You're sweet, Patsy, but you weren't invited. Don't get too close to the animals.
It's your gun, Georgie. Don't let it hang you. This is Hellman from Homicide.
No good, Patsy. This one's for me. Isn't it, Sheila?
Georgie.
Isn't it for me?
Please, Georgie, don't. Novak, stop her. Stop her before it's too late.
All right, girls, let's break it up.
Be good, Copper. You too, Patsy.
It's your neck. It won't look good stretched.
Please, Georgie.
Don't eat that, Sheila. Not yet. First, I want to tell you how clever you are. How sweet you looked at my mother's funeral. How you ruined my father. How discreet with other men, Sheila. Oh, it was magnificent.
Georgie, please. I didn't know, Georgie. I didn't know. I swear I'll make it up to you. Please.
One other thing, Sheila. Listen to me, Sheila. Those emeralds you've got. The ones you sent Haynes to Shanghai for. The ones he killed my father for. They were glass, Sheila. 10-cent green glass. You hear, Sheila? Glass.
Please. Georgie, please.
Georgie, watch her. Sheila's got a gun.
Patsy.
Take it easy, baby. You got a long trip.
She's dead. Isn't she, Patsy? She's dead.
She didn't die, baby. With that much lead, she sank.
It burns, Patsy. It burns.
It'll cool. The fog's starting to come in.
Remember the party, Patsy?
Then say it, Lampson. Please say it now. Say it.
Yeah, Georgie, I'd say it, but you're not listening. We found a letter in Georgie's coat pocket that told most of the story, and then Hellman grabbed Mike and Sheila's sister and sweated the rest out of them. Well, it wasn't a pretty story, but it moved. When Sheila spent the professor broke and he checked out over in China, Georgie decided to blow the whistle on her. She made up that phony yarn about the emeralds, and then she let Haynes murder her father and walk off with him. They were glass. To make it look good, Haynes played pallbearer and took the boat back with the body. But not before Georgie tipped the captain and the first mate about that sack of emeralds Haynes was supposed to have. So they went to work. They robbed Haynes and planted a fake for a fake. It was a real cat and mouse game. Georgie only made one mistake, but sometimes that's all it takes. She flew back here a few days before the Calcutta got in so that she could be around for the payoff. One of Sheila's pals must have spotted her and trailed her to my place. And then the sapping started. That was the same night the Calcutta got in, and people started checking packages and pulling triggers. When Sheila found her package was a fake, she figured Haynes was being cute, so he got it first. And then she went out after that original fake. She tried to double up and hang Haynes' body on me and get rid of Georgie at the same time. But Georgie didn't die easy. I don't know how the captain got on the move, probably through Sheila. But her Gunsel friends took care of the first mate with a knife when he got anxious. Well, when the dust lifted and they counted cold noses, it was a real devil's game. Wherever he was, Georgie's old man must have been holding his side and rolling in the aisles. Yeah, a real plum. And Sheila found out when you get close enough to the seed, the taste gets bitter. Well, Hellman asked only one question. How come a smart girl like Georgie bought something as stupid as revenge? I don't know. She was a lot better at a lot of other things.
Cast included Lois Andrews, Steve Brody, Herbert Litton, Jerry Hausner, Ivan Ditmars, Ray Erlenborn, and Hal Sawyer. This is a Larry Finley transcription, brought to you from Hollywood.
Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. Unidentified thieves start a campaign of burglaries in your city. Homes are broken into and stripped of their furnishings. There's no lead on the criminals. Your job, get 'em.
When you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. If you want a long cigarette, smoke that best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Smoke Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, August 3rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the business office, and it was 9:25 a.m. when I got to room 45, burglary detail.
Did you get all the money together, Joe?
Yeah, $1 from each man in the detail. We got to buy the gift.
When's Austin going to get married?
Next Sunday. We haven't got too much time.
Why, we always have to pick out the gift.
Well, somebody has to do it. You got any ideas what we ought to get him?
Talked to my wife over the weekend. She thinks it'd be nice if we get him something to start housekeeping with. Maybe some nice kitchenware, table lamp.
Yeah, I don't know if we have enough dough for a good lamp. But maybe they might like a bedspread. You can always use them. Or maybe a nice wool blanket, huh?
I don't know. Got to be careful about those personal things.
What do you mean? What's personal about a blanket?
Well, we don't know much about the girl Austin's going to marry. She might not need any.
Excuse me. Could you tell me something?
What's that?
I said, could you tell me something?
Well, what do you want to know, little girl?
Is this where you come to report about stolen things?
Oh, no, that all depends. Why don't you come on in and tell us all about it, huh?
Thank you, I will.
Like to sit down, little girl?
I'm 12 years old. I'll stand if it's all right.
All right. Now, would you like to tell us what's been stolen?
Everything.
Everything's been stolen. We came back this morning and found it that way. Grandpa's awful mad.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we better get the facts to start with. What's your name?
Ruth Ann Marie Jeanette.
Jeanette. Is that your last name?
No, Snyder. Ruth Ann Marie Jeanette Snyder.
Did you come down here alone, Ruth?
Yes, Grandpa sent me. He's awful mad.
Where do you live?
With Grandpa.
Where's that?
Over on College Avenue. Grandpa's leg's bothering him. Arthritis. So he told me to come down and tell you about it.
About what, man?
Everything. We came back this morning on the train, and when we got home, we found everything was stolen. It's terrible.
What do you mean by everything?
I walked all the way over here to tell you. I'm thirsty. Is there a drinking fountain in the hall?
Oh, we've got a cooler over here. Let me get you a cup, huh?
Thank you.
Would you like a drink, man?
Oh, no, thanks.
All right, little lady. Here you are.
Thank you very much.
Now, would you like to tell us what it's all about?
Grandpa and I got back to Los Angeles on the train this morning. We've been on a trip back to Indiana.
Uh-huh.
We took a taxi cab home from the station. When we got there, everything was gone. Everything but the rug in the dining room.
Yeah?
All the furniture, every single bit. The sofa, the chairs, my desk upstairs, the stove. Everything's been stolen. I want you to find it.
Means someone broke in while you were gone and took all your furniture. Is that what you think?
You know they did. The lock on the back door, it was broken. They took everything but the dining room rug. That's why Grandpa's home now. He thinks the crooks will be back. He's sitting on the rug because he says if they take that, they'll have to take him, too. We better hurry.
Yeah?
Grandpa's not very big.
9:45 a.m. Ben and I drove little Ruth Ann Snyder back to her home on College Avenue. It was an old-fashioned wooden frame structure, a few doors up from College Avenue and Everett Way. Ruth Ann showed us inside and introduced us to her grandfather, Mr. John H. Snyder, age 78. He told us that a year ago, he and his wife, Ruth Ann's grandmother, had come to California from Indiana and rented the house on College Avenue. The grandmother had fallen ill and passed away suddenly 3 weeks ago. He and Ruth Ann closed the house and took the body back to Indiana on the train for burial. On their return that morning, they found the house stripped of every piece of furniture. We checked room by room and listed the missing articles. We put in a call to latent fingerprints.
Do you happen to know the serial numbers of your home appliances, Mr. Snyder?
No, sir. I've lived with most of the furniture for 40 years. You get to know the things you own in 40 years.
I know it was in my room, Sergeant. My desk, my table and chair, the bed, the curtains. They took everything.
Well, how about the estimated value of the furniture, sir? What would you say it was worth?
Dollars and cents? Oh, I don't know. What's a house full of furniture worth to anyone? Guess everybody puts their own value on their things.
Yes, sir, they do.
Solid walnut dining set. A wedding present. Mahogany front room table. A solid too. It cost money in their day. All gone.
Were there any liens against the furniture, sir?
How's that?
Did you owe anything on the furniture? I mean, there was no trouble with the finance company or anything like that.
Oh, we didn't even know what a finance company was when the wife and I was married. It was a sad enough trip as it was. And Ruthie and me get here this morning, and everything's gone. All we own. Ruthie.
Yes, Grandpa?
Where the thieves broke in, would you show the officers, please?
It's back this way.
Okay.
How are you and your grandfather going to make out here, Ruth?
Well, Grandpa says we'll buy 2 cots for tonight, Army surplus. There's no stove to cook on. We'll have to eat out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll have to go back to Indiana. Grandpa doesn't have much money. He's on a pension. Where's the back door? Let's see what they did to get in.
Must have used a hammer and a crowbar. Smashed it clean through.
You'll find the crooks, won't you, Sergeant?
We're going to try, Ruth. Better have the crime lab check this, huh?
Yeah. How about your neighbors, Ruth? You know any of them well?
I know who they are. I don't know any of them good. They're not very friendly.
We'd like to ask you and your grandfather a few more questions, Ruth.
All right. I don't know what I'm going to do when school starts. They stole all my stuff, even my composition tablets. I'm going to have to take those.
Which grade are you in, Ruthie?
I was in A7. I'll be in the B8. Why would they take my school things?
I don't know.
You see how they got in back there?
Yes, sir, we did. By any chance, did any of your neighbors know that you and Ruth here were going away?
Well, I didn't mention it, no.
Then no one kept an eye on your house while you were gone?
No, I didn't think it was necessary.
Might have helped.
I just remembered, Grandpa. Mrs. Merton. I told her we were going away.
Who's that, Ruth?
She runs a store down at the corner, the bird store.
Yeah.
She sells canaries, other kinds of birds, too. Mrs. Merton's her name. Store's right down the corner.
You figure she's the only one who knew you'd be gone from the house for some time.
Must have been the only one.
All right, Mr. Snyder, we'll be back to see you later on. Here's our card. We'll see if we can't do something to help you out here.
Let's see here. Friday, Romero, burglary detail. All right, thank you, boy. Ruthie will show you to the door.
Yes, Grandpa.
Mr. Snyder.
Goodbye, sir.
Oh, say there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you understand, but I'd like to apologize anyway. I just couldn't do it.
What's that, sir?
Offer you a chair.
10:30 a.m. Ben and I called the Salvation Army and told them the Snyder situation. And then we went down the street to the store at the corner of Coolidge Avenue and Everett Way. The sign on the window said Mrs. Merton's Birdland, manager Agnes Merton. We tried the door. It was locked. The cardboard clock hanging on the glass door read, "Be back at 1 p.m." So we went back up to College Avenue and we started ringing doorbells. Some of the residents on the block didn't even know the Snyders. Of those that did, only 2 had noticed any activity at the house during the 3 weeks Mr. Snyder and his granddaughter had been away. They told us that they'd seen a moving van park in front of the house about a week before. They also saw men moving furniture from the house into the van. Neither of the 2 could describe the vehicle or remember its license number. 12:45 p.m. We had a cup of coffee and a hamburger, and then we headed back for Mrs. Merton's bird store.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
Yes, ma'am. Police officers. Have a few questions for you.
Certainly. Something about birds?
No, ma'am. About one of your neighbors.
Oh.
The Snyders. They live just up the street from me.
Oh, yes, old couple. Poor Mr. Snyder passed away, a few weeks ago.
Yes, ma'am, we know.
They have a wonderful granddaughter, Ruthie. She and I are getting to be great friends. The Snyders having some kind of trouble?
We're investigating a burglary at their house.
Oh, is that so? Now, you be quiet, Mary. You heard what I told Blackie. Just eat your food and be quiet.
I guess you knew the Snyders had been away for the last few weeks.
Yes, I did, but they're back. I saw Ruthie pass the window this morning.
Have you noticed any activity around the Snyders' house since they've been gone?
Well, yes, I did.
And just what you noticed, Miss Merton?
Well, it was 7 or 8 days ago, I think. Some white moving truck stopped in front of their place, and two men started moving out Snyder's furniture.
Uh-huh.
Thought it was a little strange because Ruthie hadn't told me anything about moving. In fact, she said definitely she and her grandpa were coming back after poor Mrs. Snyder's funeral in Indiana.
Did you investigate it all, ma'am?
Excuse me. Who was that? You, Fred? Yes, you ought to be ashamed. You can see I'm busy. Another outburst like that, and all three of you, Fred, Blackie, Mary, I'll take care of you. Now, where was I?
You saw the moving van in front of the Snyders.
Oh, yes. And I went up to the moving men and asked them if the Snyders were going back to Indiana. Well, of course, they didn't know anything about it.
Did you inquire at the Snyders' house?
Well, no, it so happened I didn't. I was on my way to one of the big aviaries in the valley, and I just didn't have time to stop.
How about the moving vans? You happen to notice the license?
I don't remember the numbers.
Any identifying marks about the truck you might remember? Maybe a sign on the side?
Yes, the side of the truck was painted white, and there was large blue lettering on it, van and storage, it said. I remember that much.
Was that all?
Well, yes, as I said, I was in a hurry. I had to pick up 3 sick canaries out in the valley.
Is there anything else about the incident you can remember? Anything at all?
No, I'm afraid not.
Well, thank you very much, Miss Merton. Here's our card if you happen to come across any further information.
Yes, all right. I'll have to go see the Snyders. Maybe I can help.
Fine. Goodbye, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yes, goodbye.
Right.
Fred, now you step up just a minute. Fred?
Yeah, not much help there.
Not much. Give me an idea, though. Wedding present for the Austins.
Yeah?
Maybe a couple of canaries? In a nice cage?
At 5 p.m., we went back to the office. Reports had come in from 2 more victims. That night, Ben and I drove out to interview them. The circumstances of the theft and the M.O. of the criminals matched identically with the Snyder case. Both of the families victimized had gone off on vacations and neglected to notify either the neighbors or the patrolmen in their area. Both had allowed daily newspapers to collect on their doorsteps in their absence and otherwise left signs that their homes were vacant. In both cases, the thieves had forced an entrance through a back door or window, stripped the house of every last piece of furniture, and either hauled it away themselves or hired somebody to do it for them. We started canvassing the 2 areas where the crimes had been reported. Again, the neighbors saw the moving vans, but none were able to definitely identify the vehicles or their license numbers. Captain Fulton called us into his office.
You're going to have to try harder. I know they're hard to get, but get them fast.
Done about everything we can so far, Skipper.
Only one small lead. The thieves seemed to be using a different moving van on each job. We started to check the movers around town, the transfer companies.
Clayton Friends come up with anything yet?
No luck there.
One of the lousiest rackets we've had since I came on this detail. Whole house full of furniture, everything a family owns.
Yeah. Well, we'll stay on top of it. The stats office may come up with something.
How about an outlet for all that stuff that's been stolen? Thieves can't be sitting on it.
Pawn shop and second-hand details have been alerted.
They're checking regular outlets, auction houses, second-hand places. Nothing yet.
What about some kind of preventive idea? At least slow them down.
A good dose of publicity on the whole thing would help. If only people wouldn't keep it a secret when they're going away. Neighbors aren't alerted. That's why a lot of them didn't think much of it when they saw the moving vans parked at those houses.
And drawing blinds and the newspapers on the doorsteps didn't help much either. It's an open invitation.
Well, I'll see what we can do on the publicity end. We've had one campaign on this already. No, excuse me. Burglary, Captain Fulton. What's the address? Okay, I got it. Thank you. Here you go, another one. 63 hours just called it in. Family back from vacation. Furniture all gone. Here's the address here.
Thank you.
Better get on it right away.
Let's go.
I'll have a little more help for you on this tomorrow. Crowley and Barnes will be free. They can work with you.
Okay, Skipper.
Check you later.
Right.
Sergeant
Friday.
Oh, yes,
you
ma'am.
remember me, don't you, Mrs. Merton?
Oh, sure. The bird store. Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Well, they told me to wait here. I guess everything will be all right now.
Yeah?
I saw it today on Olive Street. Here.
Hmm?
The truck that came to Snyder's house. That's the license number.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation, presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Here is the reason why. When you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
And because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more and more smokers say it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
I agree, says Dick Hyland, sports columnist.
I agree, says Mrs. Deems Taylor, painter and theatrical designer.
I agree, says Frank Fenton, author.
Yes, all agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima. Best of all, long cigarettes.
Because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Smoke Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette.
Tuesday, August 11th, 6 p.m. The license number, which Mrs. Merton had given us, was checked through DMV. We found that the truck was registered in the name of a local second-hand furniture dealer by the name of Ralph Grismore. We checked his name through the police commission and in the I Bureau. He had a good reputation, no criminal record. Early the next morning, we picked up Mr. Snyder and his granddaughter, Ruth, and we drove to Grismore's second-hand furniture store. We identified ourselves and asked to look at his buy book. Under the date of July 27th, Grismore had recorded the purchase of more than 3 dozen articles of furniture from a house on College Avenue. The address was that of the Snyders.
The man and the woman, Sergeant, they said they'd sold their house and they were going east. Man said the company he worked for transferred him to Boston. Told me he had to get back to take over his new job.
Would you recognize the people if you saw them again, Grismore?
Sure, I think so. The woman was a great talker. She said they figured on selling the stuff piece by piece. They'd get more, but since they had to leave town the next day, she decided to sell the whole lot to a dealer.
You got the furniture for a pretty low price, didn't you?
Pretty good price, yeah. That's why I went along in the fast deal. Wasn't going to talk myself out of a bargain. They wanted to sell fast, I wanted to buy. I didn't think anything was wrong.
Sergeant.
Yeah, Mrs. Snyder?
Our walnut dining room set. That's it right over there.
You sure, Mr. Snyder?
A cigar burn on top, just above one of the legs. Know it anywhere. Seems to me that's our mahogany table. I'll look.
Sergeant? My table and my desk, here they are right here. My school stuff, too.
All right, Ruthie.
Yeah, they sure stuck me all right. That's the last fast deal I ever make.
How did they contact you, Grismore? What kind of approach did they use?
Called me on the phone, and I came out and gave them an appraisal on the stuff. Nothing suspicious about either the man or the woman.
That's so?
She was in a house dress, bandana around her head. The guy was in old clothes, just as homey as you please. Looked like he was doing a little repair work around the house, you know.
Mm-hmm. You notice if they had a car parked by the house?
Well, no, matter of fact, I didn't. There wasn't any in the driveway.
Mm-hmm. No argument over the price you offered them for the furniture?
No. They seemed to hesitate a little, but they took my first offer. I thought I had a good deal. I don't know.
How'd they react after you agreed on a price? In a hurry?
Said they had to board a train that night for Boston. They asked me to get the furniture out right away.
Mm-hmm.
The woman said they had other business to wind up, so if they weren't at the house when I came back with the van, why, she'd leave the back door open for me.
I guess you realized you were going to have to place a hold on this furniture that you bought.
Yeah, I know. I got no one to blame but myself.
And you gave this man and woman a check for the full amount of the sale. Is that right, Grismer?
$550 down the drain.
Do you have the canceled check?
No, not yet. If you like, you can probably get it from the bank. Don't imagine those crooks would waste any time cashing.
Mm-hmm. We'd appreciate it if you'd run down to the bank with us now.
Okay, sir.
Sergeant, could I speak with Mr. Grismore?
Sure, Mr. Snyder.
Mr. Grismore.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry about all this. I didn't know.
Oh, I understand, sir. You buy furniture, don't you?
Yes, sir.
What could you give me for 2 Army surplus cots?
Grismore made arrangements to round up Mr. Snyder's furniture and ship it back to his home. Then we took him down to his bank where he recovered the canceled check for $550. The endorsement read, Mr. Thomas Butterworth. According to the bank teller who waited on them, the suspects had cashed the check shortly after the sale of the Snyder's furniture. From the second-hand dealer and the clerk at the bank, we got a complete description of the man and woman known as Mr. and Mrs. Butterworth. We also had photostatic copies made of the check and specimens of the handwriting from the endorsement. From the descriptions, we checked the suspects through the stats office. We got nowhere. During the next 2 weeks, we found 6 more second-hand dealers who had been taken in on the same furniture deal. The description of the man and woman matched, and so did the handwriting and the endorsements on each check. There was only one variation. The couple went under a different name on each occasion. Wednesday, August 26th, 9 a.m.
12 cases like this today, is that right?
That's it, Captain. Got the description, M.O. handwriting. Still can't reach him.
Those thieves have been freewheeling for a month now. What's going to take to stop them?
Well, Ben came up with a pretty good idea this morning. We'd like to talk it over with you.
Oh, what's that?
Kind of a system of decoy, Skipper. We were thinking it might be a good idea to contact all the division captains and have them ask their men if they have any neighbors going on vacation.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, if we got a few dozen houses spotted around the city, we could plant a few things. Make them look obviously vacant.
We keep the houses covered at all times. They ought to make pretty good bait for those thieves.
Uh-huh. How would you set it up?
We could make arrangements to get a key to each home, keep the milk and paper deliveries coming, let them pile up on the doorstep. We could reimburse the people for whatever it cost.
We're not making any headway. We could run this for a couple of weeks, see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Try it.
9:30 a.m. We contacted all division commanders requesting them to ask their men to contact burglary detail if they knew of any of their neighbors about to leave on a vacation. During the next 2 days, the response came in and the plan went into effect. 40 homes throughout the city were spotted as decoys. They were kept under surveillance at all times. In the week that followed, 2 more burglaries of the same type were reported, but the suspects failed to try any of the decoy homes. The men in the pawn shop and second-hand details continued to work right along with us. The stolen furniture kept turning up, but not the thieves. Again, the homes that had been broken into displayed all the usual signs that the occupants were away. Old circulars and newspapers scattered on the lawn, milk bottles lined up at the door, all the blinds drawn. The decoy plan continued. No results. August 31st, we had a report of another burglary involving the theft of furniture. We made our investigation. 2 p.m. We went back to the office to get out a list of stolen articles.
Hi, Ben. Joe?
Hi, Austin. When'd you get back from your honeymoon?
Late last night. Say, Feldman, I'd sure like to thank all you fellas for that wedding present you sent us. Darn nice of you.
Well, we're glad you liked it, Austin.
Sure a beauty. I'd like to ask you a question about it, though. I hope you won't take it wrong.
No, go ahead.
Well, what is it?
You've got an early American house, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right.
It's an antique.
Yeah?
It's an apple peeler. One of the first ever built.
Oh, sure. Thanks a lot.
I get it. Burglary Friday. Yeah? Where? Right away, thanks. One of the decoy houses.
Yeah?
We got a bite. Together with Sergeants Crowley and Austin, we drove out to the decoy house where an unidentified man and a woman had been seen forcing entry through a back door. They'd been spotted by a police officer's wife who lived next door and who had called in the report. We parked down the street from the decoy home and waited. 5 minutes passed. We saw a woman dressed in a housecoat come out onto the porch of the house, look up and down the street, and then go back inside. A few minutes after that, a gray Chevrolet sedan pulled up in front of the house. A man in a dark suit got out and entered through the front door. Ben called communications for a make on the car.
80K to Control 4. 80K to Control 4. Request DMV on 6 Mary 6778. Repeat, 6M 6778. Information urgent.
Roger, 80K. KMA 667.
We waited. There were no signs of activity from the decoy house. 2 minutes after Ben put in the call, we got our make on the gray sedan.
Control 4 to 80K.
80K, go ahead.
6 Mary 6778. 6M 6778 is registered to the Donahoe Furniture Company. Legal the same. 7811 Harvard Boulevard. It is a Chevrolet Deluxe 2-door sedan, 1941 model. Engine number C6VA4414.
80K, Roger. KMA 367.
A A few minutes after the call back, a moving van drove down the street and backed into the driveway of the decoy house. The sign on the side of the van read Donahoe Furniture Company. 2 men got out, went up to the front door, and were let in. They came out in a couple of minutes and loaded a sofa into the moving van.
Okay, Joe.
Crowley and Austin get the sign.
Yeah, here they come.
Let's go. Hey, you and Crowley want to cover the back, Austin?
Right. Let's go, Crowley.
Yeah.
Come on, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. You want something?
Police officers like...
Tell them the cops! Run him!
Stand still, you.
Austin and Crowley got her.
All right, hold still, mister.
Oh,
Hold still.
Hey, what's this all about? You cops?
That's right. You?
Max Donahoe. I'm buying this lot of furniture. Something the matter?
You're buying from the wrong people. They're not the owners. You better have your men move that stuff back in the house.
Okay, if you say so.
All right, lady, relax.
Take it easy, Helen. There's no use fighting. They got us.
Whose fault is it? I told you luck doesn't last forever.
Okay, all right. Don't make it worse.
All right, let's go.
I'll take her, Austin. You better fix your shirt.
Yeah.
Come on, lady.
Get your hands.
Hey, what's the matter with your shirt, Austin?
Look, it must have happened when she tried to get away.
Yeah, lipstick all over the collar there.
Doesn't look very good.
No, it doesn't. What are you going to tell your new bride?
I got nothing to hide. I'll tell her the truth.
Yeah?
She'll believe me. Won't she?
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 25th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Under our system of law, the jury selected to hear a case is accorded complete freedom. The jury's decision is the final result of the testimony and evidence presented in the course of the trial. So with Fatima. They are the final result of carefully selecting and blending only the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, buy a pack of Fatimas and compare them with other long cigarettes, and you'll see the difference is quality. Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. So, smoke Fatima.
The suspects were identified as Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Dunbar. They were arraigned on 15 counts of burglary and tried and found guilty on all counts. They are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice came from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Coming up, Duffy's Tavern. Bob Hope returns October 3rd on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A socially prominent citizen is plotting to kill his wife. He tells you his plans for the murder. He hires you to do the killing. Your job, stop him.
When you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Fatima is the quality, king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
You'll find king-size Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Smoke Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, February 17th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 4:18 p.m. when we got to room 26, chief of detectives' office.
Come on in, man. Have a seat. Did you close the door, Friday?
Yep, sure.
Captain Steed, Sergeant Romero, Sergeant Friday. I'd like to have you meet Special Agent Ray Kimball, Public Utilities Commissioner.
Mr. Kimball.
And his friend, Mr. Trudeau.
How do you do?
Mr. Trudeau.
Oh, I see.
Gentlemen, Mr. Kimball and Mr. Trudeau here have some important information to give us. Mr. Trudeau, would you like to repeat for these officers what you told us a few moments ago?
Yes, sir. Well, a friend of mine wants me to kill his wife for him. I'm convinced he means to go through with the thing.
Naturally, it goes without saying that Kimball here will back up the veracity of the story.
Well, Mr. Trudeau, who is your friend? How long have you known him?
His name's Charles Stone. Guess maybe you heard of him. Owns a string of warehouses around town. I used to work for him.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, the other day he called me and asked me if I was working. I told him no. Then he asked me to meet him in front of the public library. And that was last Saturday afternoon.
Did you meet him?
Yes, I did. And he took me to a bar in the neighborhood, started telling me all about his troubles at home.
Mm-hmm.
He said his wife was stepping out on him, running around with other men. Well, we had quite a few drinks, and I guess I thought that's what accounted for it.
What's that, Mr. Trudeau?
Well, he leaned toward me and he said, here's the dope. The wife and I haven't been getting along well at all for about a year. She's stepping out with some other guy on me, and to make a long story short, well, that's when he told me.
I see.
He said, I want to lose her. What do you say? Well, I told him I didn't quite get the drift of the thing, and then he said, I want my wife killed. I'll pay you $1,000 for the job.
Mr. Trudeau, have you any idea why he contacted you on this thing?
Well, I don't know, other than the fact that I hadn't been able to work for some time. He knew I needed the money pretty badly. As soon as I was sure he wasn't kidding about the murder, I told Mr. Kimball here, he's an old friend of mine.
Yeah.
He said the only thing to do was to take it to the police.
Did this Mr. Stone make this proposition to you more than once?
Yes, he did. Kept reminding me how much I could use the $1,000. Well, all I could say was that I knew his wife too well. I couldn't do it.
And what did Stone say to that, sir?
Said I had cold feet. Told me I was just like another man he'd lined up to kill his wife. Told me if I didn't want the job, he'd get someone else to do it.
Do you think he might go for a substitute, Mr. Trudeau, one of our men?
Well, I don't know, Chief. There's only one thing I'm sure of.
Yes, sir.
He wants his wife dead.
4:42 p.m. The meeting in the chief of detectives' office went on. A man by the name of Charles Stone wanted his wife murdered. He'd offered $1,000 for her death. He'd approached two men to do the job. Both had refused. From the information we'd received, we knew he wouldn't stop there. There are a lot of people who'd kill for $1,000. It was only a matter of time till he found one. A plan was formulated, and Ben and I were assigned to the case. 5 p.m. Together with Captain Steed and Mr. Trudeau, we left Thad Brown's office and went down the hall to homicide.
In your last meeting with Stone, Mr. Trudeau, you refused outright to have anything to do with this plan to have his wife murdered. Is that right?
That's right.
Did you leave any opening at all?
Well, just to get away from the guy, I told him if I heard of anybody that'd do the job, I'd let him know.
You think that maybe he'd listen to you if you went back and suggested somebody?
I don't know. He'd listen to me, but he's no dummy. You got to understand that. He's going to be careful.
Well, which one of you is going to play the killer?
I'd like to try it, Skipper.
Who's going to fit the part best? Trudy here just told you that Charles Stone's no pushover.
I don't know, Captain. This officer here...
Me?
Yeah, no offense, but I'd sure peg you for a cop.
You would? Why's that?
Well, I don't know. You just look like one, I guess.
Well, Joe is a little closer to average height, weight.
Yeah, that's what I mean, Captain. He doesn't look like a cop.
All right. Now, Mr. Trudeau, you're willing to go along with us on this thing?
Certainly, Captain. Anything I can do. You just tell me what you want.
Well, just as soon as possible, we'd like to have you contact Mr. Stone. You'll know how to approach him so as not to make him suspicious.
Yes, I think I can do that.
Joe, how do you want to go about this?
Well, I better use some kind of an alias. Let's see, Matson. Joe Matson.
Mm-hmm. How about Kelly? Just plain Kelly?
That's fine with me.
Good. Now, how about your background? Better get that straight with Mr. Trudeau here.
Well, suppose I tell him I'm from Phoenix, huh? Mm-hmm. I know that town pretty well. He might ask me some questions about it.
Okay. Now, how'd you happen to know Trudeau, the Army?
Did you ever serve in the Army, Mr. Trudeau?
Yes, sir. 42 to 45. CBI theater.
All right. Well, we served together in the Army, huh? Let's make it in China. Mm-hmm. Quartermaster Corps, all right?
Mm-hmm. All right. And now, Mr. Trudeau, this is all you'll have to do. Set up a meeting with Stone as soon as possible. Introduce Friday as the man who's willing to do the job for him, an old Army friend. Then step out of the picture as quickly as you can.
All right, Captain. I understand.
It goes without saying we certainly appreciate your cooperation.
And not at all, sir. I'm only glad I'm in a position to help out.
You'll probably save that woman's life.
I wish I could be sure.
How do you mean, Trudeau?
The last time I saw Charlie Stone was 3 days ago.
Maybe he's hired somebody else.
5:30 p.m. Captain Steed ordered 2 teams of men from Homicide to watch Charles Stone's wife, Mildred, until further notice. For her own protection, she'd be kept under 24-hour surveillance without her knowledge. We checked the I Bureau to see what we could find on Charles Stone. He owned a gun, a .32 Smith & Wesson revolver. That's all we found. He had no criminal record. We knew of him only as a social figure from a prominent family, and supposedly he was happily married. He owned and operated a chain of 6 warehouses throughout Los Angeles. His business reputation was good. Captain Steed ordered that Charles Stone also be placed under 24-hour surveillance immediately. He would be kept under watch without his knowledge. Ben Romero and Gil Encinas were one of the teams assigned to tail him. The next morning, I checked in for work at the usual time. At 10:15 a.m., I left Captain Steed's office and went into the squad room. Homicide, Friday.
This is Mr. Trudeau, Sergeant. I saw Charlie Stone a few minutes ago.
Yes, sir. How'd it go?
We talked about 20 minutes. I told him you might be willing to do the job.
What'd he say?
He wants to meet you.
Before he hung up, Trudeau told me that Charles Stone would meet us that night in Section B in the grandstands at the midget auto races out near Santa Monica. I informed Captain Steed of the development, and then I left the office, went home, put away my gun and all my identification, changed into some old clothes. I boarded a bus and rode back downtown to the Skid Row area where I rented a single room in a cheap hotel. I signed the register J. Kelly, Phoenix, Arizona. 5:30 p.m. I went to Koken's Cafe on the corner of South Main and Satella Streets. Captain Steed was waiting for me in one of the rear booths.
Hi.
Hi.
You look like you're all set.
How's the outfit strike you okay?
You're fine. That old leather jacket's a good touch. Oh, better let your beard grow a little.
You all right? I rented a room in one of the hotels down here. I could use a little expense money.
Glad you said a little. All right, I'll fix it up for you.
Here's the phone number of the hotel in case you want to contact me.
Good.
It's one thing that's got me a little worried, Skipper.
Yeah?
The legal angle. You know, you can get pretty close to entrapment in cases like this.
Well, nothing to worry about. You just play it straight down the line.
Yeah?
The idea for the crime has to originate in the mind of the criminal. It's got to be all his idea. You just go along with him.
Okay.
Be sure and keep us posted.
Yes, I will.
Murder of his wife means a lot to Stone. He wouldn't want anybody getting in his way.
Yeah.
Be careful.
That night I had dinner with Trudeau at a cafeteria on South Grand, and then we caught a bus and rode out to the stadium where they held the midget auto races. We found the seats where Charles Stone was to meet us, numbers 4 and 5, row 27, Section B, main grandstand. The auto races started. At 10 minutes past 8 p.m., Charles Stone arrived. He looked like an average, prosperous businessman, well-dressed, medium build, dark hair that showed a few streaks of gray. Trudeau introduced us, and then he left.
Where you from, Kelly?
Phoenix?
Like midget auto races?
That's not why I came out here. Trudeau said something about a job.
Sure. Guess he told you what it's about.
Yeah?
You ever handle anything like this before?
I'd be a sucker to answer that one, wouldn't I?
I just want to know if you could handle it.
Trudeau told me about it. I wouldn't be here if I couldn't handle it.
It's a delicate job. Got to be sure it's done right.
What are you looking for, references?
Got to be careful, that's all.
What about me? I don't know you from Adam. How do I know it won't be a double cross?
Don't worry about a double cross. Let's go below the grandstand. Get away from this crowd.
All right with me. You haven't said anything about money yet.
Plenty of time to talk money.
I'd like to know.
How much you want?
Trudeau said 1,000.
Yeah.
When could you get it?
When would you want it?
Before. I'd be a dope to do the job without getting paid first.
I'd be just as stupid to give it to you first. Say, can I buy you a hot dog, cold drink?
Okay.
Miss?
Yeah?
1 hot dog, couple of root beers.
1 dog, 2 beers.
You like root beer?
Sure. How about settling on the dough, huh?
You do the job, you'll get paid. You can ask Trudeau if you like. He'll tell you I keep my word.
Well, it's got to go fast, that's all. I may have a job lined up in Phoenix. I got to get that dough and some new clothes. Got to put up some kind of a front. That's why I need the dough fast, no waiting.
You'll get your money. We can work out something.
Hot dog, 2 root beers, 40. Mustard's on the counter.
There you are.
Mm-hmm.
Just move over there out of the way.
Okay. But you haven't told me yet.
What?
How do you want it done?
All depends.
I haven't got my gun. I'm on the lam. Have you got one?
No, I don't own one. Couldn't use a gun anyway. Too much noise.
Well, make up your mind.
We'll meet tomorrow night. We can talk about it then.
Look, mister, you expect me to sit on this thing for a week? I'm not making a career out of just this one job.
What are you worrying about? We'll set everything up tomorrow night.
All right, how about $10 on the cuff? I got 11 flat.
That's 5. See if that'll do.
Now, how about that payoff, the 1,000? How do we set that up?
We can talk about that later.
Why can't we talk now? Look, Stone, I don't think I like your attitude. You haven't told me how you want the job done. You talk cute every time the payoff's mentioned.
Take it easy,
Take it easy, nothing. I'm taking the chances. How do I know I'm going to get paid?
How do I know you'll kill her?
Before I left Charles Stone, we set up a meeting for the following night at 8 o'clock. I caught a bus and went back to the hotel room. So far, I'd been unable to get any other corroborative evidence on Stone, evidence that could be presented in court. The next morning, I called the office and kept them posted on developments. I had my meals at a lunch counter next door to the hotel, and I stuck pretty close to my room. At 2:30 that afternoon, Ben called.
We tailed Stone to the midget auto races last night, Joe. Do any good?
Well, not bad. It's going a little slow, though.
We tailed him after he left you. He drove to a Beverly Hills address, apartment out.
Thought he lived in Glendale.
He does. The apartment he went to is registered to Jean Howard. Stayed till 4 this morning. Checked the Howard girl out. She's a secretary at one of Stone's warehouses.
Maybe that explains why Stone wants to get rid of his wife, huh?
Here's one more thing. We tailed him to a gun shop this morning. Bought a couple of things, and after he's gone, we checked with the store clerk. Told us Stone bought a box of shells, 32 caliber.
Same kind of gun he had registered in it, 32 S&W?
Yeah.
That's funny. Stone told me he doesn't own a gun.
Doesn't look too good in my book.
All right, now let's don't start worrying, huh?
Don't trust him a dime's worth, Joe, that's all.
All right. You want to check with me later on? I've got to keep this line open.
Yeah, all right. See you later.
Right. Yeah.
This is Stone.
Yeah.
Job's all set up, ready to go.
When?
Tomorrow night.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of New York cover girl Rita Daigle. This is her actual signed statement.
I find Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima the difference is quality.
And they're extra mild.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended.
And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy king-size Fatima yourself.
You will find king-size Fatima different from other long cigarettes.
They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Wednesday, February 19th, 8:55 p.m. Charles Stone picked me up in his car at the corner of Alameda and 6th Streets. He turned onto South Broadway and he headed down for the beach. He hunched over the wheel as he drove. I kept wondering how I was going to pin him down. We were less than 24 hours away from the scheduled murder of his wife, and I still didn't have a case against him that'd stand up in court. If he failed to produce sufficient evidence tonight, Stone had a good chance of going free, whether he succeeded in having his wife killed or not. I also had no idea what plans the suspect had made before he hired me to do the killing. There was a definite possibility that he might have arranged for somebody else to commit the actual murder and then set up a double cross with me as the victim. We knew he had a .32 S&W revolver registered in his name, but he denied to me that he even owned a gun. 9:03 p.m., we pulled up in front of Stone's beach house.
Most of the other homes around here are vacant, summer places. People don't start moving in till 1st of May.
But you said you were afraid of the neighbors seeing you here.
There's some living up the next block.
Oh.
Can't afford not to be careful. This one here. There's the front door key. See if you can work it.
I know how it works. You go ahead and open it.
All right.
The living room, huh?
Yeah, bedroom's over here through this door.
All right, what's the story? Where do I start?
My wife should be here about 6 o'clock tomorrow night. She'll be coming down alone to get the house ready for a weekend party.
When do you want me here?
About 4 in the afternoon. Here. Here's the key to the front door.
Better pick it up and hand it to me, huh?
Okay, here you go. First thing you do when you get here is pull out all the drawers in the bedroom bureau, scatter things around, make it look as much like a burglary as you can.
Yeah?
Same here in the living room. Desk drawer, table, cupboards. Turn them inside out, throw things around.
Leave my fingerprints all over everything?
I've taken care of that. Old pair of gloves of mine. You'll find them here in this drawer, remember that.
All right.
Let's see now, Oh, yeah, sash cord. I'm sure this ought to serve the purpose. Shouldn't have any trouble.
Yeah. Piece of rope's pretty new. It's a little slippery.
Won't be with the gloves on. She's not very strong. Shouldn't have any trouble. I'll leave the rope here in the closet.
You sure she's going to be alone?
Positive.
Where am I supposed to hide?
Let me show you. Here. Right by the front door. This closet.
Yeah.
When my wife comes in, closes the door, she'll probably go right to the bedroom and take off her coat. Follow her in, then do it fast while her back's turned. No screams. Neighbors might hear.
All right.
Want it clean and quiet. Do it as quickly as you can. Now, when you're finished, here's what I want you to do with her.
What's that?
Take the body and bring it this way. Come here. Here, I want you to see.
All right.
Across the living room to these French doors. Open this one. You won't have any trouble. Take the body out here on the porch. Come with me now. I want you to get this clear in your mind.
Yeah, I think I got it.
Take her down to this end of the porch. Right to the railing and leave her here. That's very important. You understand? All the way down to the end of the porch here.
I don't get it, but I guess it's all right.
All right, let's go back in.
Look, Stone, I may forget the layout of this house here. Could you draw a floor plan for me? I don't want to get mixed up here.
No, there's paper on the desk there. You can draw it yourself before you leave tonight.
What's the matter? Don't you trust me?
Can't afford to take any chances. Now, what was it? Yeah. After you're finished, using the rope, I mean.
Yeah.
You'll find some rings on my wife's fingers. Take them all off. Big setting especially. There'll be a bracelet on her left wrist. Take that, too.
What'll I do with them?
Put them in this white vase in the mantel here. The rings and the bracelet. Don't miss any of the rings. They're expensive.
Well, how about me bringing them to you? I can pick up my dough at the same time.
No, put them in the vase. As soon as that's done, I'll leave here and go back downtown. I'll pick you up where we met tonight, 6 in Alameda, 7:30 sharp. I have the money for you then.
Where are you going to be at 6 o'clock?
I have to cover myself. I'll stay on at the office. Special conference.
I don't know. I don't think I like this.
What do you mean you don't like it?
Suppose something should happen. I got no protection. I'd feel a lot better with a gun.
I told you I don't have a gun to give you. Why would you need one anyway?
Just feel a lot better, that's all.
Buy one if you want. That's your problem. I'm paying you for the job.
I haven't seen your money.
I told you, when the job's done, you get your money then.
There's just one thing I want to make sure of. No mistakes here.
Don't worry, you get your pay. Ask Trudeau if you like. He'll tell you can trust him. You can ask anybody.
How about your wife? Before I left Charles Stone, I got one more valuable piece of evidence out of him, a special phone number written in his handwriting on the back of one of his business cards. In case anything went wrong, I was to call him at this number. In his own handwriting, I also got a list of times that I was supposed to remember. When to come to the house, when to leave, when to meet him for the payoff. The next afternoon at 3:30, I left the hotel and drove my car out to Venice to Stone's beach house. Captain Steed and another officer from Homicide followed me out. We waited in the house together. Shortly before 6 p.m., Mrs. Mildred Stone arrived with Bill, Ben, and Gil and seen us. She refused to believe the story of her husband's plot to have her murdered. Captain Steed laid out the evidence for her.
This key, Mrs. Stone, you recognize it?
Why, yes, it's the one for the front door. It must be Charles.
He gave it to this officer, Mrs. Stone, the man who was supposed to murder you.
No, I don't believe it.
Do you have any idea what's in that closet, ma'am, that one over there?
There's nothing in there. I cleaned it out the last time we were here. I cleaned out all the closets.
I'd like to show it to you, ma'am.
Piece of rope? I never saw that there before.
Mr. Stone gave it to me. It was supposed to be the murder weapon.
Just one more point, ma'am. Over here, please. Do you know what's in this drawer here?
It's empty. It has to be. We never keep anything in there. Only when we move down for the summer months.
Joe?
Right. Pair of your husband's old gloves. Is that right, ma'am?
Well, why would they be there? What for?
I was supposed to wear them while I was in the house so I wouldn't leave fingerprints.
Do you mind if I sit down?
Here you are.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Stone. We know it's a terrible shock for you. I think you realize we had to tell you.
It's all right. You've been very kind. You saved my life. I'm sorry now that happened. It would have been better if he'd succeeded. Much better.
Take it easy, Mrs. Stone.
The shame. Terrible, terrible shame. Is there anything I can do for him?
He wanted to have you murdered, ma'am.
I know that. He wanted me dead.
Yes, ma'am.
There's only one thing.
Yeah?
He's my husband, Sergeant. I love him.
6:45 p.m. I telephoned Charles Stone and told him the job was done. His wife was murdered. He said he'd meet me at 6th and Alameda Streets for the payoff as scheduled. I waited. He failed to show up. At 7:30 p.m., Stone was placed under arrest as he parked his car in front of their Venice beach house. A loaded .32 caliber revolver was found in his pocket. He was taken back to the city hall, the chief of detective's office. Ben and I waited outside the open door. We could hear Thad Brown start the interrogation inside.
Do you know what we have you down here for, Mr. Stone?
No, I haven't the faintest idea.
What would you say if I told you your wife had been murdered?
I think you're crazy.
What would you say if I told you that you're accused of her murder?
It's silly. It's ridiculous. I've been at work all day. I can prove it.
All right, Friday, come in.
Yes, sir.
You ever meet this man before?
I've seen him on Skid Row. I don't know him.
Do you recognize the man you hired to kill your wife?
I don't know the man. I didn't kill my wife. I don't understand all this.
The name's Kelly, Mr. Stone.
He's some fake officer. A Skid Row bum. I don't know him.
I don't think that's going to make it, Stone. Both you and your wife have been tailed constantly for the last couple of days. Photographs taken. Midget auto races. 6th and Alameda. Beverly Hills apartment.
Crazy. You don't know what you're talking about.
Mike, would you send the lady in, please?
Mildred, You don't believe all these things you're saying about me, do you?
Here are the rings, Charles. The bracelet, too. I didn't realize how much you wanted them.
Molly, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I don't know what I was thinking of.
There, Charles. There, it's all right now. You'll feel better in a few minutes.
Yes, ma'am. That's all, Friday.
Right.
What's it look like, Joe?
He's starting to talk.
It's got me. He tries to have her murdered. She goes to bat for him.
What's it prove?
He sure must love him. What do you think?
How about a cup of coffee?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On May 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. To the working detective, the difference between guilt and innocence is proof, in the form of physical evidence, in the form of testimony gathered from reliable witnesses. In determining any suspect's guilt or innocence, the difference is actual proof. Now, when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality, and Fatima is extra mild. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. You'll find Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Charles Farnsworth Stone was tried and convicted on soliciting the commission of a felony, 2 counts. He received the sentence as prescribed by law. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Hi, folks. This is Bob on the air for Chesterfield. Every Tuesday night, consult your local paper for time and station Hope.
And Bing, on the air for Chesterfield every Wednesday night, Crosby. I've called this little seminar to teach our new boy the ropes.
Say, Sag, I think it's only fair to warn you, with me selling Chesterfields this year, you'll have to limp along lively to keep up.
Oh, say, since when have you been any competition, lover boy? When we're in pitches together, who always gets the girl?
Which only backs up the old saying, everybody loves a fat man.
Seriously, friends, Skinflint and I, we do agree 100% on this. Chesterfields are milder.
And they leave no unpleasant aftertaste. So always buy our cigarette, Chesterfield.
The best cigarette for you to smoke.
Hear Hope and Crosby Tuesday. Next, We the People on NBC.